The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. I invite you now to join your imagination with that of Edgar Allan Poe, so that together you can create a tale of intense horror, to say nothing of mystery. You would have no better companion for such a joint venture, surely, because in all the world there's never been a more accomplished master of the macabre, the terrifying, the grisly. Master, did I say? Correction. Genius. In proof of which, listen.
Come, Elvira. Let's go to our cabin and get a good night's rest for a change. I'm tired of walking this deck in the fog. Chilled to the bone.
I don't want to go to our cabin, but... well, there's no place else, I suppose.
My dearest, you must get over your fear of that oblong box in Cornelius Wyatt's cabin. This wild fancy of yours and its coffin.
Well, whether it is or not, I don't like our cabin being directly across from Wyatt's, and I...
What is it?
There, at the rail. Wyatt and a woman. And the woman is not his bride, Rachel.
No, I can see that. But who is she then?
Unless I'm mistaken, Will. Unless I'm very mistaken, she's the woman in the oblong box.
Our mystery drama, The Oblong Box, was adapted especially for the Mystery Theater from the Edgar Allan Poe classic by George Lothar and stars Richard Mulligan. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Sign-Off, the sinus medicines. I'll be back shortly with Act One. I've brought you in the course of our association many a strange and terror-ridden tale, but believe me, none that can surpass that which you're about to hear. It begins aboard the sailing ship Independence in the harbor of Charleston, South Carolina, in June of 1897. William Hopkins, an attorney of some importance, and his wife, Elvira, are standing by the ship's rail near the gangplank, watching the arrival of passengers with more than ordinary interest.
Will, it's close on departure time. Are you sure Cornelius Wyatt and his bride will be aboard?
Oh, it said so in the Charleston Herald yesterday, and I checked the passenger list, which plainly states Mr. and Mrs. Cornelius Wyatt, cabin C and D.
The cabin's directly across from ours. But why two?
One for Cornelius and his wife, and the other for, well, very likely they'll have a servant with them. Oh, Cornelius has gone far since our college days together 20 years ago. He's a world-famous artist now.
Do you think he'll remember you?
Oh, my dear Elvira, we were the closest of friends. I must admit, of course, that we didn't keep the friendship up through the years, but... oh, yes, he'll remember me and well. And there, by heaven, there he comes.
Where? Where?
The carriage that just came onto the dock. The man in it is Wyatt, and the woman at his side must be his lovely new bride, Rachel.
But what in the world is in that wagon behind them? Will, it's a coffin.
No, Elvira, no. That oblong box doesn't contain a corpse. It contains a priceless painting, a copy of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, done by his student Rubini. It's priceless.
How do you know all this?
The newspapers. There were several stories about Wyatt buying the painting and having a carefully boxed for the voyage to New York.
Well, it certainly looks for all the world like a coffin to me.
You must remember, dearest, the painting is 6 feet long and 2 feet wide and requires a box of that size. Wyatt and his bride are coming up the gangplank. I can't wait to see his face when he discovers his old friend Will Hopkins.
All right, mind the handle that box with care, will you? You hear me? With care.
I'm anxious to see the face of his bride. That's a pretty heavy veil she's wearing.
She's beautiful, absolutely ravishing.
Why, Will, you've met her. You know her.
No, but I know Cornelius Wyatt. He could never stand an ugly woman, not even a plain one. Oh, no, nothing but the most beautiful of the female sex for good old Wyatt.
You fools, careful, I said. Incompetent idiots. I'll speak to Captain Hardy about this. And you, sir, where can I find Captain Hardy?
I'm afraid I don't know, Cornelius.
Cornelius? You address me with a familiarity, sir, that I don't... hold a moment. You're...
Will Hopkins. Your old college friend, Will Hopkins.
Oh, yes, so you are.
Well, you certainly don't seem very happy to see me again after all these years.
No, most happy. Great pleasure, but I'm a bit upset at the moment. Good Lord, sir, what are you brainless sailors doing with that box? Damn it! I said keep it on an even keel and right side up.
Oh, come now, Wyatt. There's no damage done, and certainly a few bumps won't harm the painting if you practice securely, that is.
The painting?
The copy of Da Vinci's Last Supper you bought your bride as a wedding gift. It is what's in the box, isn't it? It's certainly not a corpse, Wyatt.
No, of course not.
And speaking of your bride, aren't you going to introduce me? Oh, good heavens, I forgot my manners. My wife, Elvira. Dear, this is my old friend, Cornelius Wyatt.
How do you do?
How do you do? My wife, Rachel.
Oh, how do you do?
Now, you'll excuse us, I'm sure. We've got to go at once to our cabin.
You mean your cabins, don't you, Mr. Wyatt? You have engaged two. We'd expected you to have a servant, Lord.
No servants. Luggage. Our luggage will go into the second cabin.
But you don't have enough luggage for... Oh, the Oblong Box, of course. You'll need the extra cabin for that.
Come along, Rachel.
No, but wait now, Wyatt. Wait a moment. Surely we're going to have the pleasure of seeing your bride. I mean, won't she raise her veil so we can look at this beauty you've married?
Why, yes, I dare say. Rachel, my dear, will your veil... Not the beauty you expected, Hopkins?
Well, no, that is... Yes, most attractive. You are indeed most attractive, Mrs. Wyatt. Or Rachel, if I may.
Oh, of course you may.
And now you must excuse us. You men with the box, follow me, will you? And please be careful. Take care of it, will you? Take care! Take care of that!
Well, it's right. She's ugly.
Certainly not beautiful. Will?
Yes?
Don't you sense something peculiar about all this? Will?
Something wrong, Elvira?
The Oblong Box, it's in their cabin.
In the same cabin the Wyatts occupy? How do you know? Seems to me Wyatt's gone out of his way to keep their door closed at all times.
Well, just as I was coming down from my stroll on deck, their door opened, and I saw Rachel go into the other cabin to get something from their luggage, I suppose. And before Mr. Wyatt could close the door, I saw it. The box.
But that makes no sense. These cabins are anything but spacious. In fact, they're downright tiny. That box must occupy practically the entire cabin.
Well, it does. That's why it took Mr. Wyatt some moments to close the door. He nearly fell over the box.
Well, this is the damnedest thing I've ever heard. They engage two cabins and use the extra one for only a couple of pieces of luggage and keep the box in their cabin. Well, it's idiocy, unless...
Yes?
That must be it. The painting is so valuable. In fact, Elvira, it's beyond price. Wyatt wouldn't even run the risk of letting it out of his sight, which reminds me... What do you say we have a look at it?
You mean ask to see it?
Of course. I'm not much on art masterpieces, but, well, a copy of The Last Supper done by one of Da Vinci's own pupils. Something to see, Elvira. Come along.
Well, Will, are you sure? I mean, yes, I'd adore seeing it, but your friend, Mr. Wyatt, wasn't exactly friendly, you know.
Oh, nonsense. Come along. Old Wyatt was in a bit of a stew, that's all.
What is it?
Your old friend, Will Hopkins, Wyatt.
What do you want?
Well, nothing, Wyatt. Nothing at all, if you're going to continue to be so standoffish.
Well, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, Hopkins. Really, I am. It's just that... Well, I've had a good many problems these past few weeks, and my nerves are a bit raw, I'm afraid. I'm truly sorry.
No, I am. Sorry I said what I did. After all, I ought to know you better.
I would ask you and your wife in, but as you can see, there's scarcely room to move about because of the box.
Oh, that's what we came about, Mr. Wyatt.
Meaning what, Mrs. Hopkins?
Why, Will thought you wouldn't mind if we had a look at the painting.
Oh, I see.
And can we?
No, I'm sorry. It's out of the question. You see, I had to adopt extreme precautions in creating it, especially to guard against the dampness of a 6-day voyage to New York. The box is sealed. If I remove the lid, the seal will be broken.
Sealed? You don't say.
With melted wax. Believe me, I'd be more than glad to show you the painting, old friend, but it simply can't be done.
Oh, I understand.
I'm sorry. It must be that way, Hopkins, but that's the size of it. Would you excuse me now? I have matters to attend to.
Certainly, Mr. Wyatt.
Of course. I'm sorry, Elvira, that we couldn't, What's wrong?
Strange. Very strange.
Oh, now, will you stop? There's nothing strange about not wanting to open a box he's gone to infinite pains to seal with melted wax.
But it isn't sealed with melted wax or anything else.
What do you mean?
You didn't smell it?
Well, now you mention it, there was an odor of some sort.
Yes, an odor of some sort. Come to bed, Will. It's 11 o'clock.
Don't know, Elvira. Thought I might take a stroll on deck before turning in.
Oh, no. Do you think that's wise? There's a gale blowing.
Elvira, when it comes to exaggeration, no one can match you. I'd hardly call that a gale out there. A stiff wind, perhaps, but not a gale.
When it comes to splitting hairs, what's the difference between a gale and a stiff wind? I wouldn't know. Did you hear anything more about that leak in the hold?
Oh, yes. I talked to Captain Hardy. No problem. They caulked it without much trouble.
Strange, though, that... All right, I'm sorry. But it is strange that this ship was in dry dock for 3 weeks being recaulked before we sailed.
Oh, it's the kind of world we live in, Elvira. Nobody cares about doing a good workmanlike job anymore. I'm going on deck for 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, do be careful, Will. Don't get blown overboard by that stiff wind.
Oh, don't worry. What?
Will? But what is it?
Well, this is the damnedest thing. The damnedest thing.
What?
Wait a minute, wait. Well, I'll be...
Will Hopkins, if you don't tell me what you...
Rachel Wyatt. She just came out of their cabin, looked up and down the passage to be sure she wasn't seen, and then, Elvira, she went into the cabin where they keep the luggage.
Well, maybe she needs something out of it.
Then why did she lock the door?
Locked it?
Locked it. And why did she look up and down the passage as if she were doing something secretive?
Well, since I'm no longer permitted to say I think something is strange.
Shh, listen.
What is that?
It's coming from the Wyatt cabin, and it sounds to me as if Wyatt's prying off the lid of that oblong box.
You're right. That's exactly what it sounds like. Exactly what it was.
Then it couldn't have been sealed.
I told you that.
But why would he lie? Especially to an old friend.
Well, Will, I may be given to exaggeration, but you are naive. Cornelius Wyatt no longer considers you an old friend or even a friend. He doesn't want anything to do with you. As for why he lied because he doesn't want you or me or anyone else to know what's in that box. What's really in that box.
Shh, listen.
What's that? What's he saying?
He's crying as if his heart would break.
Kill me.
This is terrible. Poor Wyatt. He's in agony, Elvira.
Yes, I can hear him. Poor man. Will, what is he crying over?
It can't be the painting, even if it had been damaged when those sailors bumped the box. Elvira, it can't be that.
It isn't.
Isn't?
I told you I've had this feeling all along. This sense of something. You know. And now I'm sure. It isn't a painting that's in that box, Will. It's a corpse.
A corpse?
And the question that I've been asking myself all along is, whose corpse?
Do you wonder if Elvira is right? Surely it would seem so. For how else explain the... Hopkins will forgive my use of the word, I trust. Strange goings-on in the Wyatt cabin. As it happens, I know the answer, since I've read the Edgar Allan Poe story. If you haven't, you must wait till I return shortly with Act 2. Well, now, where were we? Oh, yes. The Hopkins, Elvira and Will are totally baffled and just a bit uneasy about the curious actions of Cornelius Wyatt and his bride, Rachel. As the sailing ship Independence makes its way from Charleston, South Carolina to New York, Will and Elvira burn with curiosity to know the contents of the coffin-like oblong box Wyatt brought aboard.
Rachel has spent the entire night in the other cabin. Now, what kind of way is that for a newly married couple to act? Her in one cabin, him in another, sobbing and crying his heart out all night long.
Maybe they had an argument, a lover's quarrel.
Oh, Will, you don't believe that, and neither do I. She didn't act as if they quarreled when she came out of the cabin, did she?
No, acted secretive, as if she didn't want anyone to see her going from one cabin to the other.
And then we heard him prying the lid off the box. The box he claimed was sealed. And we've heard him sobbing all through the night. I've said it before, Will, and I say it again. He's not carrying any valuable painting in that box. He's carrying a corpse.
But that's impossible. The captain would never allow it. A corpse on board a ship is thought to be a jinx. If the crew even suspected there was a corpse in that box.
But they don't. Wyatt has cleverly hoodwinked them and everyone else with the story that the box contains that painting, that copy of Da Vinci's Last Supper. No, Will, I tell you...
Shh, listen.
Oh, he's nailing the lid back on. What time is it?
6 a.m.
Then for 7 straight hours since 11 last night, he's been crying over whatever's in that box.
Shh, wait. I think I heard...
What? Heard what?
Let me just open our door a crack. There, Elvira. Just as I thought, Rachel has just come out of the adjoining cabin. Yes, looking up and down the passage to make sure she isn't discovered. And there she goes, back into Wyatt's cabin. Well, I'll be damned.
I'm frightened. Right down to my toes. Frightened to death. Will, how can you eat and so ravenously?
Because I'm hungry. What did we come up to the dining saloon for if not to have a good breakfast?
Well, I can't touch a thing. After the goings-on last night and now hearing that foremast split and we're... What do they call it? Hove to?
Only for a few hours, probably. Shouldn't take longer than that to repair it. Say, these eggs are tasty. You ought to try them.
I don't know how you can eat.
Because I'm not letting this oblong box business get me down the way you are.
Oh, aren't you?
You can see I'm not. And you know why? Because I've decided to take the bull by the horns and find out what is in that box before this day is out. That's why.
And how exactly do you propose to do that?
Don't know yet. Got to figure it out. In fact, I think I just have.
What do you mean?
Wyatt and his bride have just come into the saloon, see?
Yes, and they've seen us. They've changed direction and headed for that table way over in the corner instead.
Listen, I'm going down to their cabin while they're having breakfast, and I'm going to find out what's in the box.
Oh, no, you can't do that, Will. What if they discover you?
That's where you come in. You're going to see to it that they stay right here in the dining saloon till I get back.
Well, how can I possibly
Just go over to their table and start a conversation and keep it going until I return.
Will, I can't.
You can. They're just ordering breakfast, all right?
All right.
All right, back in 20 minutes or so.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Hopkins. Do you mind if I join you?
Why,
Well, Will's gone for a walk on deck, and I couldn't possibly face that gale out there. I suppose you heard about the foremast splitting during the night.
Oh, did it? Well, no, we hadn't heard.
Oh, it's nothing to worry about, Will says they'll have it repaired in a matter of hours. And... Mr. Wyatt, you're not leaving.
Yes, excuse me.
But you haven't even started your breakfast.
I'm not hungry. Anything but hungry.
But, Mr. Wyatt... Oh, dear.
What in the... Hopkins, what the devil are you doing in my cabin?
Wyatt,
What are you doing with that knife in your hand?
You see...
You were going to pry the lid off this box, weren't you? Off my box, my personal property. Ever since you set eyes on this box when I brought it aboard yesterday, you've been ravening to find out what's in it.
Nonsense. That's nonsense. I know what's in it. You yourself told me. A priceless copy of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper.
But you don't believe it.
No, of course I do. Why shouldn't I?
I don't know why you shouldn't. I only know you don't. Why else would you sneak into my cabin and try to pry open the box in my absence?
I didn't try to... All right, White, I did.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I apologize. It was the wrong thing to do, but, well, man, I would like to have a look at that painting.
Get out of my cabin. Get out this instant. And while you're about it, get out of my life.
Why, you don't mean that. Surely you wouldn't dissolve a friendship such as ours because of...
What friendship? I haven't seen you in 20 years.
But we were such good friends in college.
Whatever we may have been, we no longer are. Now get out, Hopkins. Get out!
Mrs. Wyatt, how nice to find you here in the lounge.
Oh, Mrs. Hopkins.
Reading Godet's ladies' book, I see.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I don't in the least care for the latest styles. Do you?
Oh, well, they're all right, I guess.
Oh, my dear, with all your money, I should think you'd be intensely interested in fashion. Though I did notice, you'll forgive my mentioning this, won't you? An older woman giving advice to a younger sister. I did notice that lovely, expensive dress of yours could fit a little better. Proper fitting is so important, don't you think?
Oh, yes. Yes, I just didn't have time to get it fit properly before we left Charleston.
Oh, you don't mind my mentioning it, do you? A little sound advice from an old married woman.
Oh, you're not old, Mom. Mrs. Hopkins.
Oh, I mean old married. Married many more years than you and Mr. Wyatt. In fact, you're not married even a week, are you?
Oh, a few days or so.
Happy days, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
And nice? Mr. Wyatt.
Mrs. Hopkins?
Your dear wife and I were just discussing...
I would prefer, Mrs. Hopkins, that my wife and you discuss nothing, either now or at any other time.
Why, Mr. Wyatt...
I have already made plain to your husband, as I'm sure he will inform you, that I no longer consider him my friend and wish to have nothing whatever to do with him. And that, madam, applies to you as well. Come, Rachel.
Yes, sir. I mean, Cornelius.
Not his wife? You're telling me that the woman in that cabin across the passage, the woman Wyatt introduced as his wife, is not?
I don't think so, Will. In fact, I'm sure she's not.
Whatever in the world put such a thought in your head?
The little chat I had with her before Mr. Wyatt so rudely terminated it. A little chat I deliberately had with her because, quite frankly, Will, my suspicions had been aroused.
Aroused by what? And while you're telling me, I want to keep an eye out to see if Mrs. Wyatt, who is not Mrs. Wyatt, changes cabins again tonight.
For one thing, Will, you said Mr. Wyatt was interested only in the most beautiful of women. And Rachel Wyatt is altogether plain.
She's downright ugly, but that's no reason to suspect.
Also, when I was talking to her, she slipped and called me Mum.
Mum? Only a servant uses that word.
Exactly. Also, she slipped again and called Mr. Wyatt Sir. But over and beyond that, Will, what originally aroused my suspicion was her hands. I noticed those when Mr. Wyatt introduced us. They're not the hands of a lady, Will, but the hands of a servant. Hands decidedly work-worn.
But there's no sense to what you're saying, Elvira. You're saying that Cornelius Wyatt, a world-famous painter, a man of taste, discrimination, wealth, is married to a servant girl?
She's no gentlewoman, I can tell you that.
But good Lord, Elvira, would you say it's true? It makes this mystery all the more... Wait.
Is she... Again, is she?
Yes. Yes, leaving the Wyatt cabin. And yes, looking up and down the passage before slipping into the adjoining cabin. And now he's at it again, taking the lid off that oblong box. If what you say is true, Elvira, what does all this mean? I mean, what can it mean?
It can mean only one thing, that there is a corpse in that box. Oh, box my foot, it's a coffin. And the corpse is that of the real Mrs. Cornelius Wyatt. We'll come to bed. It's no affair of ours.
Maybe not of yours, but it is of mine. If Wyatt's in some sort of trouble, if he needs help and for one reason or another is shy of asking for it, it devolves upon me as his friend to assist him in any way I can.
After what he said to you and me...
Oh, one must make allowances if the trouble he's in is so serious, so unbearable, so... Elvira, I'm going over there.
To his cabin? Oh, Will, surely not.
Yes.
Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
I don't care what time it is. It's the least I can do, the very least.
Now, Will, listen.
I'm going over there, I tell you.
All right. I know you better than to try and stop you. Just let me get my robe.
You stay here.
Oh, no. I'm not letting you go over there at 3 in the morning alone. You ask me, that man is dangerous.
Dangerous? Wyatt, don't be silly.
Oh, don't you? There. I've got my robe on. If you still mean to go, then let's go.
All right. Come along. I'll knock. Wyatt, it's me, Will Hopkins. Open up. Wyatt, do you hear me?
It's very quiet in there, not like last night when he spent the whole night crying and sobbing and carrying on like I don't know what.
Wyatt? Let's go in, Elvira.
Will, the cabin's empty.
And so is the box.
What?
Look, the box is open and there's nothing in it. Neither a painting nor a corpse.
Well, now then, where does that put us? Nothing in the oblong box. Neither the priceless copy of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, nor, as Elvira Hopkins seemed to suggest, the corpse of the real Mrs. Cornelius Wyatt. Baffling? Mystifying? I should say. And I'll have more to say when I return shortly with Act 3. Surprise. No, shock is the word to describe the feelings of Elvira and Will Hopkins when they discover that the coffin-like oblong box contains neither that priceless painting nor a corpse. My bump of curiosity is as fully developed as anyone's, I'd say, and frankly, at that point, I'd have dropped the whole business, but not Elvira and Will Hopkins. Not only had their curiosity been sharpened to a keen edge, but, as Will said...
Wyatt's in trouble, Elvira. Serious trouble.
But there's nothing in the box, so why do you think he's in trouble?
Because there was something in it, and whatever it was, he acted, well, strange. He said it contained a valuable copy of Da Vinci's Last Supper, and he couldn't open it because it had been sealed against the sea air with melted wax.
But he's opened it each night since we left Charleston.
And has sobbed his heart out all night long. Whatever he was sobbing over was in this oblong box, and it isn't here now. Where is it? And where's Wyatt at this hour of the morning? 3 a.m.? I tell you, he's in trouble. I feel it in my bones.
Will, someone's coming.
Rachel. Mrs. Wyatt from the other cabin.
If she is Mrs. Wyatt, which I doubt.
What are you doing here, Mr. Wyatt? My husband's cabin. The box. The box.
What about the box, Mrs. Wyatt?
Empty. Oh, God, I knew it.
You what?
He's gone mad. I knew he would. In my soul, I knew it. Now he has. God, he has.
Why do you think that?
The box. The empty box.
What about the empty box?
I can't bear it anymore. I can't.
Here. Now, Mrs. Wyatt, try to control yourself.
He's mad. Gone mad. He's gone mad.
I'm sorry, but you must pull yourself together if you want us to help you.
Help me. You can't help me. You can't help him. It's too late. It's too late. His mind is broken.
But why? Because of what?
Oh, leave me alone. Please, leave me alone.
Well, I think we'd better find Captain Hardy.
I think we better find Wyatt. I'm going up on deck to see if I can locate him.
I'm coming with you.
Cold and windy up on deck. Maybe you better stay here.
Right now, Will, I'm not staying alone anywhere. Oh, you were right. It's cold and windier than I thought it was.
Here. Put my jacket around.
No, Will. I'll be all
Do as
right.
I tell you for once.
Oh, yes, Will, yes. Oh, thank you, dear. That is better.
Now, come on. Let's see if we can find him.
Will. Well, there he is, standing at the rail, gazing off across the water.
There's someone with him. A woman standing beside him.
One of the passengers.
Maybe. Only, if it is, I've never seen her before.
Well, I didn't get a good look.
Well, you will as soon as that light from the port side lamp falls across her face again. There.
Yes. Oh, I see her clearly now. Will, I've never seen anyone so beautiful. She's ravishing.
She's that, all right. Absolutely lovely face. That long blonde hair blowing in the breeze. No wonder he was holding her close to him. Arm around her waist and... Oh, hey, look. Kissing her now.
Well, that's one for the books. If the woman he came aboard with, the woman he claims is his wife, if she is his wife, then what is he doing up here on deck with her?
You got me.
And she isn't one of the passengers, or if she is, this is the first time I've seen her.
Then who the devil can she be?
Oh, good Lord.
Elvira?
I think I'm going to faint. Take me below to our cabin.
Yes, but what is it?
A terrible thought, a horrible thought, horrible.
What horrible thought?
Thought that whoever she is, or whatever she is, Will, she must have been in that box.
Madness. Absolute madness, Elvira, to even think such a thing. Why, you sound as insane as Rachel Wyatt says he is.
The woman in that cabin is not Rachel Wyatt.
Oh, come now, Elvira.
The truth, the plain, simple truth, staring us in the face is that the woman on the deck with him is the real Mrs. Wyatt. Or what?
Oh, don't tell me again. Just please don't tell me again what you think. Elvira, it's too horrible. Someone at the door. 3:30 in the morning. Thank you.
What is it?
One of the crew handed me this. It's a note from Captain Hardy. He wants to see me in his cabin at once. Urgent, he says.
Well, at this hour of the morning it must be. What in the world would he want to see you about?
Only one way to find out.
Sit down, Mr. Hopkins, sit down.
Thank you, Captain.
Mr. Hopkins, as you know, we've had nothing but bad weather and bad luck since leaving Charleston Harbor 3 days ago.
I guess all your passengers are aware of that, Captain.
Yes. We sprung a seam, the foremast developed a bad crack, and there have been other problems which, frankly, I've concealed from the passengers so as not to alarm them.
It's understandable, but...
I will tell you in all confidence, Mr. Hopkins, in confidence, man, that we couldn't manage to caulk that seam properly in these heavy seas. It's getting worse. Even worse, the repair to the foremast isn't holding. And if the foremast goes, we'll be in serious trouble. There's a force 6 gale out there right now, Mr. Hopkins, and it's whipping up.
But, Captain, why are you telling me all this? What can I do?
Well, you can tell me something that I need to know, that the crew needs to know. It's got them worried.
I still don't...
Mr. Hopkins, I'm given to understand that you are a very close friend of Mr. Cornelius Wyatt's. Mr. Hopkins, What is Mr. Wyatt carrying in that oblong box?
Why, a copy, a priceless copy of The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci.
Have you seen it?
No.
Well, the crew are beginning to think that it contains a body, a corpse. And that because of it, this ship is jinxed.
Yes, I'm aware of the superstition.
I find myself in a position where I must assure the crew that their suspicions are unfounded. Accordingly, I ask you to go to your friend at once now and get from him the truth of what is in that oblong box. If it's the painting, well and good.
And if it's a corpse?
Well, then I shall be well within my rights as captain of this vessel to take proper action.
And that would be?
To consign the body to the sea.
For God's sakes, Elvira, what sense is there in asking Wyatt to show me what's in the box when he's damn well going to refuse? And when we've got a pretty good idea of what is in the box.
Then you agree with me finally. You think it's a corpse.
I don't. I think it's the woman we saw on deck with Wyatt.
And you know the thought that crossed my mind about that.
A thought too horrible, just too revolting, gruesome even to contemplate. Who would take a corpse on deck? Who would make love to a corpse?
A madman would. A man who'd gone out of his mind.
If you ask me, Captain Hardy's worst fears have been realized. The foremast is broken.
Will, that bell. Will, isn't that the signal for the boat station?
God help us, it is.
Oh, Will, what's going to happen to us? What are we going to do?
Head for our boat station, that's what. Come on, come on.
Oh, wait, with my jewelry.
The hell with the jewelry, woman. Come on. Now, who can that be?
Oh, Mr. Hopkins, help me. Help me.
Mrs. Wyatt.
I'm not Mrs. Wyatt. I'm not his wife. I'm only a servant. A married servant. Oh, help me. He's gone bad. Not his wife. His servant. Hers. Rachel Carruthers. Her servant until she died within 2 days of her marriage.
Died within 2 days?
He went out of his mind with grief. He didn't know what he was saying or doing. All he knew, all he could think of was they'd planned this voyage for their honeymoon, and there was no stopping him. He would take her on the honeymoon he promised. Take her dead or alive. Take her dead. God in heaven, how right I was. How horribly right.
Never mind that now. We're wasting precious time. Come on. We must get to the lifeboat.
But what about him?
Him? Wyatt?
Yes, he's in there now, sitting beside her coffin. I tried to tell him we were in danger, but he wouldn't listen.
All right. I'll see what I can do. Elvira, you and Rachel, Mary, whatever, get to the boat.
Oh, but you...
I'll join you.
Will.
I promise I'll join you, but I must try to save Wyatt if I can. Go now, the two of you. Go.
No, not without you. Remember, I'll not go without you, Will.
Wyatt.
Yes?
Wyatt, the ship's in danger. It may be foundering. That bell you hear, it's a call to all boat stations.
Oh.
Wyatt, stop sitting there staring at a corpse.
Corpse? Corpse?
The corpse, the body of your wife, your dead wife.
She's not dead, Hopkins. That's what they said, the doctors, but they were wrong. Only sleeping. She's only sleeping, Hopkins. And soon she'll wake up very soon now.
Wyatt.
Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she the loveliest creature you ever seen on this earth, Hopkins?
Will you listen to me? The ship is foundering. If we don't get to the boats, we'll drown. Wyatt will drown.
Drown? Did you say drown?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Drown.
No, Hopkins, she'll not drown. Not my Rachel, dear. Can you hear me?
Wyatt, what are you doing?
Come, darling. Time to wake up. Sweetheart.
In heaven's name, man, she's dead.
Rachel.
Do you hear me?
I can't wake her. Deep asleep, in a deep sleep, Hopkins. And help me.
How?
Lend a hand. I've got to get her on deck into a lifeboat. Can't let her drown. Give me a hand here.
You're not going to try to get...
What else can I do? She's sound asleep.
She's dead.
There. She's sitting up.
Oh, good Lord.
Now we'll just... Hopkins, if you'll only just please help me to get her out of this box.
Wyatt, come to your senses.
There. She's on her feet.
Oh, my Lord.
In a deep sleep. But that's all right. I'll walk her
Wheel walker, up to the boats. Get your arm around her, Hopkins, on the other side.
No.
Hopkins, I can do this alone, but it would help if you...
No.
Damn it, Hopkins! Will you please? No!
That better, Elvira? More comfortable?
I'll be all right, Will. A lifeboat isn't expected to be the most comfortable place in the world.
Mary.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm all right.
She's going down, I think. The ship getting lower in the water. Captain, is she?
Yes, foundering.
Look! Oh, look!
What is it, Mary?
It's him! Mr. Wyatt, there on deck! You see?
Oh, no. No. Oh, he's brought a corpse on deck. Look, he's propping it against the rail, his arm around it. Oh, he's kissing it. Will, how gruesome.
Beautiful. Beautiful, though, in a way. Somehow, beautiful.
Beautiful? How can you say that?
Because to him, she's still alive. And if there is a life after death, she must know that few men have ever loved a woman as he loves her.
She's going now. My ship. Going.
And they with her. Please, God, be with them. Please.
I hope you enjoyed the Oblong Box. And if you did, we'll think for a moment on the memory of Edgar Allan Poe, to whom we owe the macabre pleasure of the last hour. Like Oscar Wilde's, his was a life of torment that came to a tragic end. Yet, out of the crucible of his torment and tragedy came infinite pleasure for others. Something to ponder on, I think. Don't you? I'll be back shortly. I heard recently that a little cottage on the Grand Concourse in the borough of the Bronx, New York City, is to be torn down. Why? Because it is constantly vandalized, and the city can no longer afford to keep it up. When I was very young, I went to visit it more than once, and stood in the tiny room where a beloved young wife died, and a grief-ridden husband drowned his grief in alcohol. But where he also wrote the story you heard tonight. I say no more. What more is there to say? Our cast included Richard Mulligan, Grace Matthews, Bryna Rayburn, and Kurt Benson. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Go on.
I don't know that I can. I've never understood what made these people what they were, but this I know. There are angels on this earth and there are devils, and you, madam, I say it to you, even in your dying moments, you are a devil. I don't blame you for looking at me like that. I spoke on impulse. I'm ashamed.
Ashamed? You are the first man who has ever dared to...
Berenice.
Stay away. Stand back. Don't touch me. Only listen. You will be haunted by the magnet that drew you to me. The weapon with which I ruined your life and will destroy you. My smile, Ernest. My smile.
No.
Look at me.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Sign-Off, the Sinus Medicines, and Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Mark Twain once said that everybody talks about the weather, but no one does anything about it. An ever-increasing army of people feel that way about pollution, but happily are doing something about it. Trying, anyway. But trying, mark you, against great odds. Odds which can be lumped under the one descriptive word, apathy. Apathy. Perhaps the most destructive negative force mankind has ever known. A force which could easily have led to the strange tale I bring you now.
Nils, I order you. Put Magda out of the house instantly.
She's my wife, Mr. Manderson. You can't ask
You
me to...
fool! She's caught the Red Death. Brought it into my house, my sanctuary. Look at her. Beads of sweat on her face. Blood red sweat. She's caught the plague.
Plague or not, I am not putting her out to die.
And I am. And one move from you to stop me, and you'll go out with her. I mean what I say, Nils. Every word of it.
Our mystery drama, The Masque of the Red Death, was especially adapted from the Edgar Allan Poe classic by George Lothar and stars Carl Swenson and Stats Cotsworth. It is sponsored in part by Sign-Off, the sinus medicines, and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One. The Masque of the Red Death. The word mask, you should know, is spelled M-A-S-Q-U-E and means masquerade. And to begin this particular masquerade, I'm going to ask you to join me in a huge house, a mansion, on top of Lookout Mountain. We're in a vast living room, one wall of which is made of plate glass, through which, in whatever direction the house turns, yes, you can turn the house by pressing buttons, can be seen miles on miles of country far below. There are others in the living room with us, including the multimillionaire owner of this luxurious estate. That tall, expensively dressed, gray-haired man over there, Milo Manderson.
So just shut up, Jack. Once and for all, shut up.
Milo, all I'm saying
And
is...
I'm sick of hearing you say it. Flossie's sick of it. Doreen's sick of it. We're all sick of it. So shut up.
Okay. But just let me point out one more
Jack,
thing.
Please. Can't you see how upset you're making my father? You're talking as if he were doing something perfectly awful, when all he's doing is saving us from the Red Death.
You ought to have a little more gratitude, Jack.
Don't you understand? Any of you understand? Look out that window into the valley where the village is. The farmlands, animals in the fields, cows, horses, pigs, chickens, everything.
Doreen, shut him up. Shut him up or I won't care if he is your husband, which is the only reason I brought him along. I'll throw him out.
I'll make up your mind, Milo. You didn't bring me here. You forced me here.
For Doreen's sake, not yours. You penniless hayseed, you farmer. Huh. Would you believe it? 1996. Here we are in the year 1996, and he's still farming like it was 20 years or 30 years ago.
Not 20 years ago, Milo. Not 30, 100. I'm trying to bring the land back to what it was, trying to replenish the earth, to restore what fools like you took out of it with every pollutant you can think of. I'm trying to save...
Now I've had it. I'm warning you for the last time. Doreen, talk to this fathead you married. Talk some sense into him.
Milo, give Flossie a little drinky. A little martini.
I could do with one myself. Now, you talk to him, Doreen.
Jack, My father's right.
With you, he's always right.
Now, listen to me, honey. There's a plague out there, and it's spreading. It's spreading all over the country, and people are dying by the thousands, and all Father's trying to do is save us from it.
I tell you, he can't.
He can. Father has never failed, never, at anything he made up his mind to do. He spent weeks stocking this place with food and water, everything we'll need to stick things out until the plague's over.
All those people dying out there, and we
Well,
still...
why shouldn't we? They'd do the same if they could. Who wants to find himself sweating blood all of a sudden and dying in hours? Not me. I'm sorry for them, Jack. I really am. But that's no reason for me or you to go out there and die with them.
There's such a thing as conscience, Doreen.
Oh, Jack, you're impossible. What's that noise, Father?
The helicopter. Here. Let me turn the house. You'll be able to see it coming in from the east. There she comes.
Who's in the helicopter, Milo?
Bringing in a couple I hired to do the cooking and housework. The Osmonds, Nils and his wife, Magda. I hired them through a New York agency and had my pilot fly them out.
What about the plague, Father? They could be bringing it with them.
I had them checked out, complete physical, and every precaution taken to keep them from any contact with people till they got to the chopper. Nothing to worry about.
Oh, look at that gorgeous hunk of man getting out of the cup.
That's Nils.
Ooh, 6'4" if he's an inch. Long blonde hair. Oh, wow.
You keep your eyes on me, baby. I'm the guy you're going to marry, remember, not him.
How could I forget? You're the guy with all the money.
Yeah. Okay, here they come. As soon as they get in the house, we lock the place up solid, and I mean solid. Nobody gets in or out till this plague is over. You're Nils Ostrom, that right?
Yes, Mr. Manderson.
And this is Magda, your wife.
Yes, sir. I should tell you she cannot hear or speak. She is a deaf mute.
A deaf mute? Well, how in Hades are we going to talk to her then? Give orders?
She can read your lips. Excuse me, sir?
Yeah, what?
The pilot of the helicopter, he asked me to ask you, will you let him stay?
No way.
He is standing out there, sir, waiting for one sign or another from you. To motion him to come inside or wave him away.
Well, he's going to get waved away.
Wait a minute, Milo.
What now, farmer boy?
I'm going with him.
Now, Jack, we've been through all this
I'm
before.
sorry, Doreen. I love you. You know that. But I just can't save my own skin while others are dying. Not if I can do something to help. Milo, you forced me to come here.
And I'm forcing you to stay.
Father!
Well, that'd defeat your own purpose, wouldn't it? To shoot me, Milo?
Oh, no intention of killing you, Jack. Just a bullet through the leg to stop you, and I'll do it. I'm going to protect you from the plague whether you want it or not. Not for your sake, but for Doreen's. She loves you. You don't ask me why, but she does. That's the only reason I'm keeping you here. Nils, you and your wife start locking the place up.
Yes, sir. Come, Magda.
I'll wave that pilot off.
You could have let him stay, Milo. You may be sending him to his death.
And if it weren't for Doreen, you'd be going along with him. Now shut up and help get this place locked up.
Oh, here you are, Jack.
Yeah.
Milo sent me to find you. Everybody's at the dinner table but you.
Just leave me alone, Floss, huh?
Sure. Only, where does it get you? Sitting in the dark, brooding.
Look down in the valley, where the village is.
Okay, Jack. I'm looking.
What do you see?
Not much. I mean, it's nighttime. There used to be a lot of lights down there. Like, you know, people in their houses doing whatever people do in their houses. But in the week we've been here... Hey, has it been a week? Yeah, a week. Well, anyway, since we've been here, at least half the lights have gone out.
They didn't go out. They burned out. People died of the Red Death, and the lights just burned out.
Tough?
Is that all you can say? Tough? But you realize what's happening out there, not only down there in the village, but all over the United States, Canada, the world.
Jack, baby. there's something you've got to understand about little Flossie. Up here in the head, nothing. Down here, and here, plenty. But up here in the head, oh, forget it. And that's why, when this is all over, Milo's going to make me wife number 4. Only you know something?
No, what?
Well, I've been listening. All this week, I've been listening to you. And it kind of gets through to me that, well, maybe you've got something. Tell me about what you're all wrapped up in. This orgasmic farming thing.
Organic. You wouldn't be interested.
So why am I asking?
Well, it's simple. It's like a bank account.
Well, that I know about.
All right. So then, if you take out more than you put in...
No bank account. Overdrawn. Fini.
Exactly. So... Well, it's simple. The land, the earth, where all the world's food comes from, it's a bank account. Now, unless you want to be overdrawn, you got to put back in what you take out. Well, the world has been taking out and never putting back in. The land is bankrupt. It's overdrawn. It's poor, not rich anymore. So what comes out of it is poor, not rich. So no matter how much people eat, what they eat is practically worthless.
Oh, yeah.
You follow me then?
Like a tiger. If what we eat is worthless, well, then we get sick.
We get sick. The air gets sick. The waters get sick. And then we get what we've got now, the plague or the Red Death.
Oh. So him, Milo, what he's doing, trying to save us from the Red Death, well, what good is it? I mean, if the plague stops like he says it will.
It will, but there'll be others, worse. They're God's way of saying, man, you're overdrawn.
Lost.
Uh-oh.
Lost.
Milo's looking for me. I'm supposed to find you and... right here, lover, right here.
Now, what is this? You and the farmer boy in the dark.
Talking, doll, just talking.
I sent you to look for him, get him to the dinner table, and you sit here in the dark just talking.
Well, I gotta talk to somebody, and you're never in the mood. Not for that.
Well, what's so interesting in him?
Well, he was telling me about organic farming and how it could save the earth from going bankrupt.
No, not that again. Come on, dinner's getting cold. You heard me, Jack.
I'll stay here, Milo.
Oh, come on, Jack. You ought to eat. Keep up your strength.
On that food? It's practically worthless.
Well, just to keep me company, then. We can talk some more, and I like talking to you.
Yeah, that's about all Farmer Boy can do, talk. Anybody can talk. I act. You just remember one thing, Flossie girl. I'm the one that's saving you from the Red Death.
Yeah. Only answer me a question, Milo.
Sure.
Saving me. For what?
More souffle, Mr. Munderson.
No. And I'll tell you something, Nils. Your wife's cooking hasn't been so hot in the past few days. She better get on the ball.
I am sorry, sir, but she has not been feeling herself.
I'll have more, Niels. I think it's quite good.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, and what about the coffee? I asked for another cup.
Yeah, in a moment, sir. My wife is heating it.
Anyone see the news on Global Vision today?
Oh, I did, Doreen. Why?
They said a plague is spreading, that it's shown up now in France, Italy, Spain, everywhere.
Nothing surprising about that.
I didn't say it was. I just said it was on the news.
No need to take my head off, Doreen.
No need for you to be sarcastic.
I wasn't being...
Oh, don't tell me.
Look, all I said
It isn't
was...
what you say. It's your attitude. I notice you don't take that tone with her.
Me? How'd I get into this?
You know how you got into it. Don't pull the innocent on me.
If you're implying...
Oh, skip it. Niels, where is that coffee?
Here's my wife with it now, madame. Magna, let me help you with the tray.
I don't intend to skip anything. If you're implying that I've been up to anything...
Look, you little...
Now stop it, the two of you. The last 2 or 3 days you've been at each other like a couple of alley cats, and I'm sick of it.
Well, you just tell your girlfriend...
You watch your tongue. Flossie isn't my girlfriend, she's my fiancée. What's more... What the devil?
Sorry, sir. I'm very sorry. My wife, The tray slipped from her hand. Magda!
Look out, she's collapsing.
Magda! Oh, my dearest.
Let me give you a hand with her, Nils.
No, sir, stand back.
But, Nils...
No, get back, sir, get back. Don't come near her. Can't you see?
See what? Her face. She's sweating blood.
Yes, I'm afraid she has the red plague.
It's worse than that. She's brought it here.
So, in spite of all precautions, the Red Death invades Milo Manderson's sanctuary, his barricaded retreat atop Lookout Mountain. And you ask me, another disease has invaded the mansion. Jealousy. Doreen's and Milo's resentment of what appears to be a developing friendship between Floss and Jack. I'll be back shortly. As ye sow, we are told in the Bible, so shall ye reap. It would appear that multimillionaire Milo Manderson is on the threshold of doing some reaping. He thought himself and his few chosen companions safe from the plague of the Red Death, secure in his isolated retreat atop Lookout Mountain, the world and the spreading death in it barred from his door. Not so. Magda Ostrom, wife of Nils, the couple Manderson brought to do the menial work of the household, has just collapsed.
Get her out.
What?
Get her out. Out of this room, out of this house.
Oh, now cool it, Milo. The woman's dying.
And we're not dying with her. Ah!
Father! Don't start breaking
The
things.
money I spent to protect us, the precautions I took, weeks of thought and preparation. To doctors. How many doctors did I send them to examine them and check them out, make sure that they were free with a plague?
Father, get hold of yourself.
Now she comes down with it. In my own house. This sanctuary, I nearly killed myself to make ready so we'd all be safe. Get her out of here.
You can't ask me
Get
to...
her out!
I will not. No, Mr. Manderson, I will not. Magda is going to die, but she is not going to die alone.
Then die with her.
Milo, no, no.
Get out of my way.
Give me that gun.
Father! Here.
Stop it. All of you, stop it.
Oh, now you're giving orders. You!
Shut up and listen. My wife is trying to say something in sign language. Yeah, Magda. What? No. Oh, but my darling, you... Very well.
What did she say, Nils?
She said there is no hope for her, and there is no sense in two of us dying.
What's she doing? Where's she going?
Out of the house. To die alone. Goodbye, my dearest. Goodbye. I'll see you for this, Manderson.
Mr. Manderson. And I'm not scared by threats.
No threat, Mr. Manderson. A promise.
Business has been brought to a virtual standstill throughout the world. Here in the United States, countless thousands who tried and are still trying to leave the congestion of the cities for what is considered the relative safety of rural areas
Shut that thing
are
off.
blocked by military and local
I said
police.
shut
There
that
are
thing
riots
off.
in the...
Oh, look. His face.
The Red Death. He's got it. His face. Red. With sweat.
All right, I'll shut it off.
The sight of death becoming too much for you, Mr. Manderson?
Shut up.
I'm sorry, sir. I thought perhaps the sight of my wife's body lying out in the patio where she collapsed and died.
Nils, you'll go too far, I warn you. I'd shoot you now if we didn't need you.
Need me? For what? Are you also incompetent, so helpless you can't do for yourselves? The ladies can cook?
Me? I can't boil water.
And I don't intend to. That's what you are paid for.
You are so like your father, madame. You think everything can be bought, even life.
Now, you look here. Since your wife died 2 days ago, you've been acting like anything but the servant you are. Now, you just cut it out. You just remember your place. Remember who and what you are. Do you understand me, Nils?
Totally, madame. Is there anything madame wishes before I go to make up the beds?
Not at the moment, but when there is, I'll let you know.
Thank you, madame.
Now, that's the way to handle a servant. Nice going, Doreen. I'm proud to call you daughter.
Well, I'm not proud to call her wife. The man isn't himself. He's broken with grief. He loved his wife. He saw her go to her death alone. He watched through this window as she collapsed out there on the patio and died before his eyes. And you treat him as if he were nothing, the way you treat me, treat Floss.
I thought you'd become Flossie's champion, and now I know.
All I'm saying is you
It's
can't...
too much, as usual. You've got a big mouth and a head stuffed with hay. The trouble is here, we're bored. That's the one thing I didn't think of, that we'd get bored. We've been cooped up here for nearly 2 weeks now.
9 days.
Will you please shut up?
Well, 9 days isn't 2 weeks, is all I'm saying.
I can take care of that.
How, Father?
Well, I don't know yet. I'll think of something. Meantime, how about some bridge?
Not me.
Sorry,
Sick
Marlo.
of bridge.
Well, then how about... blazes with it. I'm going up to the solarium to get some sun.
I'll go with you, Father. Jack?
No, I'll stay here.
With Flossie, of course.
Yeah, we'll have the orgy I've been planning for weeks.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, join me in an orgy, Floss?
But you know something?
What?
I have joined you.
What do you mean?
Well, me, I'm no great brain, but... Well, I'd have to be a dope not to... Well, anyhow, begin to realize that you're right. Milo and Doreen, well, they're wrong.
Oh?
If you mean it, what you keep saying all the time, that is.
You mean...
Well, like the world's gone to hell. It's become a cesspool, you called it.
Yeah, cesspool of corruption.
But it can be cured, brought back to what it was once. Pure and clean and beautiful and healthy. You mean it when you say you want to get out of here and go out there into the world, right into the middle of the plague, whether it kills you or not, so that you can do all you can to help people build a brand new world?
Yeah, I mean all that. But I can't get out. Milo's got the keys to every door. The windows are unbreakable.
I could get the keys. Easy.
You do that? You're with me, not him?
I never was with him. It was a deal, kinda, you know.
Yeah.
So what do you say? Well?
That means leaving Doreen.
You still got a thing for her, huh?
I never lost it.
Oh. Well, you got decisions to make. Leave Doreen and do what you believe is right. Or don't leave Doreen and don't do it.
A decision I don't think you need make, Mr. Reynolds. Not yet.
Nils.
I apologize. I overheard something of what you've been saying. Whatever your decision, it would be foolish for you to go out into the world right now, sir.
You think so, Nils?
I know it, sir. The plague is reaching its height. In a few days, it will begin to break and then recede. But right now, and for the next few days, it will be at its most dangerous point.
But
Believe me, sir. Leave here now, and your death will be assured. And you are among a handful the world cannot afford to lose. Not at this time.
Nils, you're something else. You know that? Sometimes you talk like you know all there is to know.
It'll be fun, Doreen. A barrel of fun.
Costumes. What about costumes? perfume.
That's all taken care of. Hey, now, Floss, Jack, yeah, you, Nils. I got a great idea. You say you're bored. You say life in the Milo Madison hideaway holds no variety for you, no spice at all for you. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a party.
A party?
Not just a party, Jack, the boy. A masquerade party.
Are you crazy?
What do you mean crazy?
Party? A masquerade party? When out there the world is dying? Milo, it's obscene.
You see, Doreen, I told you. Beat my brains out thinking of something to liven things up, to keep us from going nuts with boredom. Where do I get? Where?
You don't go along with this, Doreen. You don't.
Well, I didn't at first.
But then he changed your mind.
What if he did? At least he's doing something. All you do is talk.
That's all I can do. Locked in here, a prisoner. What more can I do?
Something. I don't know, but something. Don't just talk. Do.
All right, I'll do. Milo, you take your masquerade party and stuff it.
I've decided we're going to have a masquerade party. And that's what we're going to have tonight. And you're going to be in it, you and Flossie.
Floss, you go along with this?
No.
Now, look, you little...
Tramp? Is that what you're going to say, Milo?
Don't put words in my mouth.
Don't you put thoughts in my head. Thoughts I wouldn't rather think. Look through that window. There's death out there. All around out there. A masquerade party. How could you think of it? How awful could you be to even think of it?
We are going to have a masquerade party. And we're going to have it tonight. If it's the last thing I do.
It will be.
What?
It will be the last thing you do.
Now, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I understand why you decided to have a masquerade party. 2 days ago, when I held my dying wife in my arms, I told you what I thought of you. And no servant, no lackey, ever told Milo Manderson the truth since the day Milo Manderson realized he had made his first million. Before that day, you, Milo Manderson, you, still retained some shreds of humanity. But on that day, and ever since, oh, God, I call on you. What has this mortal become?
He's crazy. Look at him. Arms outspread. Looking up at the ceiling, calling on God like he knew him. He's out of his head.
Hear me now, Milo.
Milo!
Hear me. It's revenge you're after. I told you the truth of not what you are, but what you have become. God made you beautiful. You have made yourself ugly. You must learn you are wrong. And in learning, come back to God, come back to truth. You want revenge on me? You shall have it. And you shall learn the emptiness and the hollowness of it. Revenge is mine, says the Lord, not yours. Mine. And this, Milo Manderson, you are about to learn. And may God, in his infinite mercy, help you bear the agony of the learning.
A strange speech, surely. Nils calls on God as if, as if he knew him as intimately as I know you. And we do know each other, you and I, very well indeed by this time, don't we? Ought to. Been together a long time. Pleasant time for me, anyhow. Hope for you, too. Back shortly with Act 3. Death, in the form of a plague, known as the Red Death, lays waste the world, while in an isolated mansion atop Lookout Mountain, multi-millionaire Milo Manderson, seeking refuge, barricades himself and his companions from it. Now, vengeful or callous, or both, he proposes to hold a masquerade party to relieve the boredom of their voluntary imprisonment. We rejoin the small, beleaguered group in the vast living room of the mansion as...
He's gone crazy. You have, Nils. You know that. You've gone crazy.
No, not I, you. A long time ago.
You don't see me acting like I was God.
Don't I?
I think Nils is right. In a way, Milo, you've come to think you're more than God, really.
Well, now you are going too far, Jack.
No. Wait a minute, Doreen. Wait just 1 minute. Let this hayseed husband of yours go on. So, God sent the Red Plague to wipe us all out. That is, eh?
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't have to. From where I sit, you created it yourselves.
You're as crazy as Nils.
Wait and see, Milo. Just wait and see.
Yeah. And while I'm waiting, we'll have our party. Yes, there's a big closet in the game room, and it's loaded with costumes. From the bash we had up here a couple of years ago, Doreen, you remember?
Yes.
So you can all get your costumes from there. Nils, you break out the Port Rocher. I've been saving that champagne for a special occasion. And if you ask me, this is going to be a real special occasion.
It will indeed be that, Mr. Manderson. The most special occasion of your life.
Jack.
Yes, Doreen.
Hook me up in back. This Marie Antoinette costume is hard to manage.
Oh, okay.
You look handsome. That black and white domino. What kind of mask? Black or white?
Black.
Oh, romantic as well as handsome. And sulky. Sullen.
Worried is the word, Doreen. Very, very worried.
Oh, now don't tell me that little act Nils put on, that performance of stretching his arms wide and crying out to God. Don't tell me it got to you.
The way it got to you?
To me. I thought it as laughably ridiculous as my father did.
Your father
He's only trying to save us from the Red Death, Jack. And it's about time you gave him some credit for it instead of insulting him every chance you get.
I'm not insulting him. I'm trying to wake him up.
I don't know why it is, no matter how I try to keep things pleasant between us, you always manage to start your eternal harping on pollution.
I'm sorry, Doreen.
Oh, you're always sorry. But that doesn't help. You ruin everything, just as you're trying to ruin my fun.
Fun? How can you talk about fun?
Because I need fun. That's why, because my father's right. We're going house crazy with boredom, and I don't see how a few hours of fun will change anything in that world you worry so much about, one way or the other. The music is starting. Oh, let's go down. Jack, please, for once, let's enjoy ourselves.
Come on, Floss. Come on. The way you're dancing. Put some life into it, baby.
I don't feel like dancing.
Well, you will. All he needs a couple more glasses of champagne. Soon take care of that. Now, say one thing for Nils. He may be batty as a bedbug, but he's a good servant. This Port Roger is perfectly chilled. Okay, honey. Another glass for you, and another for me. Bottoms up.
I can't. How can you? How can you?
Don't cry, Floss. Don't cry.
I can't help it.
How can I try to be happy with all that's out there beyond that window? Be happy? You want to know the truth? I'll tell you. The truth keeps crowding in on me, pressuring me, trying to suffocate me. But I push it away. Because if I didn't, it would suffocate me. Flossie, the truth is, way deep inside me somewhere, I'm scared.
Scared? You?
Doreen. Jack. Well, welcome to the party. Oh, look at you, sweetheart. Dolled up like Marie Antoinette. Careful you don't lose your head tonight. And Jack, hey, you look terrific in that black and white. What's it called?
Domino.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it looks like. No, and say, you want to see something really terrific? Take a gander at Flossie, a fairy queen.
You look lovely, Floss.
But white? My dear, you in white.
No, hey, come now. None of that. Not tonight. Tonight, even if it is just for tonight, we're going to stop sniping at each other. Hold it. Wait a minute. We need Nils. He's a guest, too. He's a kind of a serving guest, but still a guest. Nils? Hey, Nils. The party's starting. Come on, join in.
Coming. And
hurry up. We all want to see what costume you're wearing.
this one, Mr. Manderson.
Yes. Oh.
Who do you think you are? Who the devil do you think you are?
I beg pardon, sir?
Your costume, it's blood red.
Suit, shirt, cape, the mask covering your face. All blood red.
The Red Death, Nils?
Yes, sir. The Red Death.
Wait a minute. What are you up to?
Simply turning off the music.
So that's it, is it? You intend to ruin my little party, do you? You come dressed as a Red Death to throw a wet blanket over the fun we're going to have. Well, I'll take care of that right here and now. I'm ripping that costume off you, ripping all of it off, beginning with the mask. There!
I am not costumed as the Red Death, Milo Manderson. I am the Red Death.
A skull. A blood red skull. No face. A skull. Blood red.
You are the Red Death. God help me.
God will not help you now, Milo Manderson. There comes a time when mortals must help themselves, and your time has come.
What do you want of me?
You may make a choice I will give you. You may make the choice for good or ill.
Name it. I'll choose what's right, what's good. I swear it to you.
You can choose to live.
Yes.
Or die.
What do you mean, Nils? I'm sorry. That's not your name, of course.
Oh, it will do.
What do you mean? To live or die?
One of you or your father, must die. And the choice I leave to him.
Are you saying that Milo must choose either to give up his own life and save Doreen's or refuse and let her die?
I am.
Wow. I mean, wow.
Nils, what about Floss? What about me?
You have no part in this. When I am gone, as I soon shall be, when I no longer plague the world, you and others like you will be needed to restore it, replenish it.
Me? Him I can understand, but me? I'm nobody. I'm nothing.
And that makes you something. Milo Manderson, what is your choice?
Haven't I anything to say about all this? Haven't I some choice in whether I live or die?
None.
But that's not fair. If my father chooses to let me die to save himself...
But he hasn't. Not yet. Choose, Milo Manderson. Choose.
Father.
I can't die. I can't face death. It's too horrible. The thought is too horrible. Horrible.
Your daughter dies then.
Yes.
What? What was that?
He can't make a choice, don't you see? He hasn't the courage to choose death for himself or for me.
Scared. He said it himself. Deep down inside, scared.
And I never knew in all these years. Never knew. I thought he was the strongest man on earth, but he's just a scared child. Nils, take me.
He must make the choice. Choose. Choose.
No. Take her. Take Doreen. She offered, didn't she? She's not afraid. But I am. Look at me. Look, I'm sweating with fear.
Look again. You're not sweating with fear, but with death.
Red. Remember, I sweat. Blood. Red. I.
Stricken, Milo Manderson. Stricken with the Red Death.
But why? Oh, why? You gave me a choice.
And again, you chose the wrong one. You chose to do evil instead of good, as you always have. Always. Now die.
No!
Die. And may your soul go to the hell it deserves.
No!
He flung himself through the window.
Lying out there next to Magda. Oh, Mother.
Easy, Doreen. Easy. Take it easy, sweetheart. Nels, I think... Where is he?
He was there a second ago. But now, just a costume laying in a pile on the floor. He's gone.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope he's gone forever. Not only from here, but from the world out there.
What world? What's left of it?
There are still some lights burning in the village. And everywhere else, I guess. Those that are left. Maybe God made a choice. And maybe we're part of it. Whether we are or not, the only choice we've got is to go out there and start helping. Start rebuilding, start creating another... and with God's help, a better world.
So ended the mask, the masquerade, if you will, of the Red Death. The year 1996 isn't too far off as years go. And as we know, there are men and women in the world today with the foresight to see what lies ahead if the pollution of our air and our water and the very earth itself isn't brought to an end. I'll be back shortly. The strange tale I've just brought you was an allegory, a story designed to symbolize a message, a truth. Of course, it never happened, but it could. Our cast included Stotts Cotsworth, Carl Swenson, Lois Smith, Jack Grimes, and E.V. Juster. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Listen.
What's that? What's he saying?
He's crying as if his heart would break. This is terrible. Poor Wyatt. He's in agony out there.
Yes, I can hear him. Poor man. Will, what is he crying over?
It can't be the painting, even if it had been damaged when those sailors bumped the box. Elvira, it can't be that.
It isn't.
Isn't?
I told you I've had this feeling all along. This sense of something. You know. And now I'm sure. It isn't a painting that's in that box, Will. It's a corpse.
A corpse?
And the question that I've been asking myself all along is, whose?
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Someone said to me the other day, you know, E.G., you talk a lot about imagination. At first I thought he might be right, but the more I thought about it, the more it seemed to me he was wrong. As far as I can see, there isn't a more powerful force in the world than imagination. After all, I made a career with mine, in films, TV, on the stage, imagining myself to be all sorts of characters. And you, well, you derive much pleasure from yours when you become the hero or heroine of the stories I bring you. As tonight, each woman will become Dora, and each man Charles Daring, caught up in circumstances which, well, listen.
That clock.
What, Dora? What?
Oh, that clock, Charlie. It's going to drive me up the wall.
Oh, come on now. It's only a clock. Grandfather clock.
It never stops, day and night. It goes on and on like his heart. He said, your Uncle Jonas said that its beat was like his own heart. Steady, solid, never stopping. Charlie, we've got to get out of here. We've got to leave this awful place.
I know, but where can we go, Dora? Where? We're trapped.
Our mystery drama, The Telltale Heart, was especially adapted from the Edgar Allan Poe classic for the Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Fred Gwynne. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Sign-Off, the sinus medicines. I'll be back shortly with Act One. As you know, I've always had an intense interest in diaries, the day-to-day journals of those who, for one reason or another, recorded the events of their daily lives. This strange tale I bring you now is remarkable not only for the horror it records, but also because it was written by a patient in a state asylum for the criminal insane. A man named Charles Daring, who on a day not long ago wrote...
True. I am nervous. I've always been nervous, but why do they say I am mad? My sick nerves had sharpened my senses. Not destroyed them, but dulled them. Why, take my sense of hearing. Acute. My ears have all been sharp. So, nervous, yes. Mad, no. Judge for yourself. Listen to how calmly I can tell you the whole story of what happened. Beginning with the day I arrived at Uncle Jonas's farm with my dear wife, Dora, and my daughter, Ruth. Well, we're here. I didn't think the old bus would make it.
Charlie, are you all right?
Yeah.
You're trembling.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Take one of your pills anyway.
I'm okay. I said, Dora, I'm okay. I'm sorry. Guess I am a bit keyed up. Long, tiring trip. Near 14 hours. Worrying the car was going to break down, but I'm all right now. We're here.
Looks lonely, Daddy. Real lonely.
Oh, Ruthie, it's a roof over our heads till things get better.
Hello there. Hello. Here at last, I see. I thought you'd never get here. Of course, you're little Charlie Daring, my nephew. All grown up now, though, huh?
Hello, Uncle Jonas. Gosh, it's good to see you.
And this beautiful young woman is your wife, Dora, huh? And this charming little girl, your daughter, Ruth.
That's right.
Well, come on in. our place is might run down, I'm afraid, but, well, you know, I'm not as young as I used to be, and being way out here in what's practically wilderness, it's hard to get help.
Well, you'll have me now, Uncle Jonas.
Yeah. Only, are you up to working, Charlie? You said in your letter you were sick. Reason you lost your job in the city and couldn't find another.
Oh, well, now, about that...
Oh, don't be embarrassed, boy. Out with it. Just tell me the truth of it. No. Better still. You tell me, Dora.
Charlie isn't really sick. I mean, physically. He's as strong as any other man, and he's healthy, too. Only, it's his nerves, that's all.
That's all? Well, that's a lot, ain't it?
Well, no, not really. It's just that now and then he gets these terrible headaches that kind of knock him out, and he starts trembling and sweating, and it's kind of a cold sweat.
Well, now, this sounds real bad.
No, it isn't, Uncle Jonas. Honest. These attacks, they don't happen all the time. Not much, only now and then. And I've got these pills the doctor gave me, and, well, listen, you'll see. I'm going to earn our keep here, Uncle Jonas. Make you glad you took us in when we needed a roof over our heads. I'm a hard worker, Uncle Jonas. A real hard worker.
Well, sure you are, Charlie. And I'm sure Dora is, too.
Oh, yeah.
And Ruth. She looks like a good, strong girl for her age. And how old are you, Ruthie?
9, sir.
9 years old. My gracious, would you believe I'm 60 years older than you? Know what I've got it in mind for you to do?
No, sir.
Something you like. Feeding the chickens. Now, won't that be fun?
Oh, yes, sir.
Of course it will. And milking the cows. Well, I guess you'll have to learn how to do that, but old Uncle Jonas will show you. Oh, then there's the horses. Jake and Jenny use them for plowing, you know. You'll want to take care of them, feed them, clean their stalls, change their hay.
Excuse me, Uncle Jonas.
Yes, Charlie, yes?
Ruth is a healthy girl, all right, strong for her age and all, but, well, all those chores, I think they might be just a bit too much for her.
Oh, no, not at all. You're good, Charlie. Make a woman of her.
Well, look, suppose I milk the cows.
But you'll be out in the fields by that time, plowing, seeding, cultivating, getting the crops in, all like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I see.
Dora will be so busy in the house, you know, cooking, washing, housework and such. Well, she won't have time for that, so... Oh, no. I got it all figured out, Charlie. You just leave it to me. Well, say now, the way you look, maybe you didn't mean it when you said you meant to work for your keep. Now, time for bed, so I better show you to your room.
Bed? But the sun's only just gone down behind the mountain.
Yeah, that's right. It gets dark fast this time of year. See, Charlie, I don't like to waste kerosene keeping lamps going all night.
But, Uncle...
We get up with the chickens, we go to bed with the chickens, Dora.
I was only going to say that we haven't eaten anything since noontime.
Oh, hungry, are you?
Well, yes.
Well, let's see what I can scare up in the kitchen. Not much right now, I'm afraid. An old man like me don't eat very much. Kind of get out of the habit.
Charles, what have we got ourselves into?
Sounds like he means to work us hard.
To death, more like it. Charlie, I don't like your uncle. He scares me.
Dora was right. As always, Uncle Jonas did mean to work us to death, or at least until we dropped. And always laughing jovially, joking that city life had weakened us, and farm work would soon make us strong. Well, as day went into week, we grew more and more exhausted from overwork and hungrier from lack of enough food. One morning in the kitchen...
Charlie, you're back from the fields early.
Early? It's nearly 12, and I've been plowing and seeding since before dawn. I'm parched. Got a cup of coffee?
I'll see if there's any left in the pot. He only lets me make one pot for the day, you know.
I know. Where's Ruth?
She was lying down. She came in from cleaning the horse stall, said she felt faint. She went to lie down, but...
But what?
He sent her out again. Said there was nothing wrong with her. Said she was faking.
I've got to do something about all this. It can't go on.
What can you do? We're broke. We're penniless. Miles from nowhere with a broken-down car. We're trapped.
If I could only fix that carburetor. But I need a new part, a butterfly valve.
Oh, forget it. We haven't got a chance.
Maybe we have. The game warden.
Game warden? Here. That's what's left of the coffee.
A fellow named Harrington. Something like that. He came by the other day. All the way from Pomfret. Stopped to talk for just a minute. Said he makes it out this way about once a month or so, and if he could get that part for me in Pomfret.
Well, now, what's this? In the kitchen instead of in the fields, drinking coffee at this hour, Charlie?
Oh, I'm sorry, Uncle Jonas, but I just had to have something to keep me going.
Sorry? Oh, nothing to be sorry about, Charlie. If you're tired out, you're tired out. Nerves, huh?
No. Nerves, okay.
Can't be. Got to be your nerves. Can't be the work. You're not doing that much.
Jonas, this past week I plowed nearly 20 acres and seeded more than 5.
My Lord, Charlie, in my prime, I used to do that in 3 days. Now, I'll tell you, Charlie, I wanted you to get started on the Lowell field this afternoon, but if you're all tuckered out, you can't pull your weight around here.
No, Jonas, I can do it. I
don't want to force you to something, Charlie.
I can do it, Jonas.
Well, that's good. Good. Now, you go on out and work that field till 1 o'clock, and then we'll all sit down and have a good midday feed.
Yeah, sure, Jonas. Sure.
A good midday feed? Is that what you said, Uncle Jonas?
When are you gonna stop calling me Uncle? Makes me feel old for a pretty young heifer like you to call me Uncle. Much too old.
Oh, please. If you don't mind.
Now, what have I done? I just put my hands on your shoulders. And where I'd really like to put them.
Don't you ever do that again.
Well, now, if I'd known you were going to take it like that, I wouldn't have. And I won't, Dora. Never again. Never again, that is, until you ask me.
You're upset. You're all upset. Tell me what happened after I left. Tell me.
Charlie, please. I've got to get supper on the table. What there is of it.
Something happened between you and Jonas. What was it?
Charlie, it was nothing.
What was it?
He tried to get fresh.
What do you mean, get fresh?
Charlie.
I want to know.
It isn't anything much. He just put his hands on my shoulder.
And?
Well, he sort of let his hands slip. Charlie, that was all. Believe me, that was all. I told him never to do anything like that again, and he won't. Charlie, believe me, he won't.
Oh, he won't. I'll see to that. Where is he?
Charlie.
Where is he?
Charlie, I think he's in that room he keeps closed, the one he uses for an office. Where are you going?
To have a talk with Uncle Jonas.
Charlie, wait. He's ordered us never to set foot in that room.
I want a word with you, Jonas.
Having another attack of nerves, Charlie? Must be. Can't imagine you busting in here otherwise.
You know why I'm here, and it isn't my nerves.
Well, then what is it? What is it, Charlie?
That clock.
Charlie.
That clock, the way it ticks.
Oh, yeah. Everybody notices that. Everybody's ever been in this room, that is. It's more like a heartbeat, they say, huh? Strong, solid, full of life. Like my heartbeat. But that isn't what you come to talk about.
You insulted my wife today.
Insulted?
You made advances, put your hands on her.
And that was an insult?
What do you call it?
Well, a compliment to her beauty, her female attraction.
You dirty-minded, hypocritical...
Charlie!
Dora, what? Ruthie. And for a reason I didn't understand then, as I looked at Dora holding Ruth, my dead daughter, in her arms, I was aware only of the ticking of the clock.
Trapped. Yes. Surely that's the word for Charles and Dora Daring, who accepted the help of Uncle Jonas, his offer to come and live on his isolated farm, only to find that his farm is a prison. Charles' diary continues, and we'll read it together, you and I, when I return shortly with Act 2. Dead. Only a word with little significance, really, unless spoken for the first time about someone you love. He is busy. Then it hits you. The full impact of the word's terrible meaning. What do you do in that awful moment? How do you react? Some burst into tears. Others are numbed into a silence. Whatever the emotion, it is deep and very personal, as was Charles Daring's. Perhaps even a curious reaction, born of his nervous condition, for he writes in the diary,
and for a reason I didn't understand then, as I looked at Dora holding Ruth, my daughter, in her arms, I was aware only of the ticking of the clock. That huge grandfather clock in the room my uncle called his office. It grew louder and louder, filling, saturating the room with its beat. The beat that my uncle said was like the beat of his heart. Slow, steady, solid. And then, through the beating, as if from far off, I heard Dora's voice.
She's Charlie. Our little girl.
No, Dora, you're mistaken. Here, let me take her in my arms. Ruthie. This is Daddy. Can you hear me, dear? Ruthie.
Kids, anybody can see that.
No, can't be.
Charlie, dear. Give her to me. Let me take her.
Yes. Put her on the bed in our room. Let her rest. Let her... Let her rest.
Now, come on now, Charlie. You can't go to pieces. Gotta act like a man. Got to face up.
Leave him alone.
Huh? What's that?
You've killed his daughter. Isn't that enough for one day? Leave him alone.
The grave's filled in at last. We better get back to the house. This wind cuts to the bone. Oh, the cow's due for milking, too. I guess you or Dora have to do that from now on. So, I might as well get started.
Not before I say a few words. Over Ruthie.
What? Oh, go ahead. Then you can get to the milking.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness. Dora. Wake up.
I'm not asleep.
Listen.
It's only the storm, dear.
No. Not the storm. Listen.
To what, dear?
The clock. The grandfather clock in Jonas's office.
I don't hear it. I never have, Charlie.
I hear it.
You can't. His office is downstairs at the other end of the house. He keeps the door closed. You're imagining.
No, I can hear it. My ears, you know how sensitive they are.
Darling, try to sleep.
Can't. Keep thinking of Ruthie. Our little Ruthie lying out there alone in the ground, the rain beating down, the cold rain.
Try not.
And the clock beating like his heart, beating. While hers lies still. Will never beat again. I can't bear it.
Darling, I'll get you a pill for your nerves.
Don't leave me, don't.
The bottle's down in the kitchen. Only a minute. I'll be right back. Only a minute.
Oh, started you, girl.
Well, I didn't expect to find you in the kitchen this late.
A glass of warm milk to help me sleep. There's a little left. If you'd like some.
No, I just came down to get Charlie's pills.
Oh, glad you did. Yeah. Long time since I've seen a woman in her nightgown.
I thought the bottle was on the shelf.
You might as well stop looking for them pills.
What do you mean?
I threw them away.
Charlie's pills?
He don't need them. He only thinks he does.
Are you out of your mind? They're all to keep him from going completely to pieces.
No, don't believe it. A lot of nonsense. Doctor's nonsense.
You didn't throw them away. Where are they?
No. I threw them away, all right.
Then you must want him to break down completely. That's it, isn't it? I've known all along what you were up to, but I wouldn't admit it to myself. Now I know.
Oh? And you tell me.
Stay away from me. Don't you touch me, I swear. If you do, I'll tell all I know.
Huh? Tell who? Who's there to tell?
And
tell who? Huh? Tell who? Only one around is Charlie.
I'll get to town. Somehow I'll get to town. I'll tell the police. You meant to kill Charlie. Work, starve him to death, so you could be alone with me. Have me.
Like I've got you.
You filthy rotten swine.
Oh.
Swine. You beasts.
Stop him. He's killing me.
Charlie. Charlie, no.
I'll kill him.
Charlie, no.
If you ever put your dirty hands on my wife again, I'll kill you. There was no sleep for us that night, Dora and me. And by the time dawn showed beyond the mountains, we'd come to a decision. Too late to save our beloved daughter, but in time to save ourselves. If I could somehow manage to fix the car. So, after the usual skimpy breakfast, a piece of unbuttered bread and a cup of weak coffee.
What's all this? Charlie, what you up to?
Getting Dora and me out of here. That's what I'm up to.
Oh, now, come on. Hold on, Charlie. Hold on. Let's talk this over.
There's nothing to talk over.
I don't think I knew what I was doing, Charlie. I really don't think so.
Well, you did it, and it wasn't the first time.
I know.
Starving us to death, working us to death. You killed Ruthie, you did.
No. Charlie, you got to forgive me for what I've done without meaning to.
You work us and starve us.
I thought it was best for you. But I was wrong. And I admit it. And I ask you to forgive me.
Well,
Don't, Charlie. Don't do it.
Oh, now, Dora.
Don't you see what he's up to? If we leave, and we're leaving, he loses whatever work he can get out of you before you drop in your tracks. And he loses me.
Now, girl, daughter.
Don't you daughter me. Any woman could see through the likes of you. You'll kill him. That's why you threw away the pills he needs. And then you'll have me all to yourself. All alone. out here in this forsaken wilderness to do whatever you want with. Charlie, get that car running. If it's at all possible, get that car running. How far have we come, Charlie?
Only 6, near 7 miles.
That leaves about 25 to Pomfret.
If we get over this mountain. Dora,
What?
I keep wondering, when we get to Pomfret, what do we do? I mean, where will we stay? How will we eat?
We can stay in the car for a day or two if we have to. And my suitcase is full of food.
Full?
I took every scrap of food I could lay my hands on.
Good for you. Oh, no.
What? Charlie, what?
We're cooked, honey. Just plain cooked.
What?
The butterfly valve. I knew it wouldn't last the trip.
But you fixed it once.
Yeah, and for the last time. It can't be fixed again. Now, what do we do? Now, what do we do?
We start walking.
25 miles through the mountains. 25 miles.
We can't go back.
We got to, honey. I'm in no condition to make it 25 miles to Pomfret.
You are. You can. You've got to. If we go back, it's death for you. And for me. We can't go back.
Who's there? Who's there?
We come back.
I figured you would. In fact, I knew you would.
How did you know? How could you be so sure?
What else could you do once you run out of gas?
It wasn't that. I filled the tank from those cans in the barn.
And I emptied it, Charlie.
You?
Left just enough for you to get maybe 10 miles. I noticed you had a busted gas gauge, so you'd never know.
You are the most...
Now. I did it for your own good.
You lying...
What would you have done when you got to Pomfret? Charlie, why do you always stare at that clock?
The ticking, it hurts my ears, my hearing, awful sensitive. Painful.
Listen, I'm sorry about what happened before you left. We're going to change all that. We're going to be friends. Try to be, anyhow. Here, let's have a drink on it. A toast to the future. Our future together. After you, my dear. And Charlie, a glass for you. Although, maybe before you drink it, but now, only if you won't mind, Charlie. You won't, will you?
Mind what, Uncle Jonas?
Milking the cows, feeding the chickens before night comes on.
No, I don't mind.
And now, daughter, a toast to us and our future together.
An evil old man, a ruthless old man, and unhappily, a victorious old man. What lies ahead now for Dora and Charles Daring? I know because I read Charles' diary. You will know shortly when I return for Act 3. One wonders at times on the nature of evil. What is it in all of us that on one occasion or another will make us do wrong when we know it to be wrong? St. Paul said, "The good I would do, I do not, and the evil I would not, I do." Our author, Edgar Allan Poe, said simply, "We are perverse. However it may be, there can be no question that Uncle Jonas is evil.
I know he means to kill me. Through overwork and little food, and then do with Dora what he desires. But what can I do? We're trapped here on this isolated farm in the wilderness, cut off from any possible help, prisoners in the hands of this evil old man who... A car. Coming down the road, a car. A car. The game warden. I forgot the game warden. Hi there. Hi. Wait up. Wait up.
Sure. Well, hello. Daring, isn't it?
Yeah. We met once, months ago. Remember? I was plowing the fields and you came by and...
Sure, I remember.
Listen, I need help. Will you help me?
Well, if I can.
We tried to get away from here, my wife and I, but our car broke down.
Oh, is that your car, half blocking the road 6 miles or so back?
Yeah. Carburetor went sour. I tried to fix it, but it didn't hold up.
Well, there's not much I can do. I'm no mechanic.
No, but you could pick up a carburetor for me in Pomfret, couldn't you? The next time you come out this way...
Yeah, sure. I could do that, but... Well, you'll have a long wait. I don't come out this way more than once every other month, thereabouts.
Oh, that's okay. I can wait, but will you do it?
Sure, glad to.
Charlie?
Yeah?
He wants to see you. Your uncle.
All right. Coming.
That your wife?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder you want to get away from here. If I had a wife as pretty as yours, I wouldn't want her around that dirty old man either.
Come in. Well, where you been? I told Dora I wanted to see you 10 minutes ago.
I was working in the barn.
Working? You working? Look at me, damn it. Not at that clock. Always looking at that clock. Look at me when I talk to you.
Yeah.
I got to thinking. It's a waste of time, you trepsing back and forth from the fields to the house, from the barn to the house. So, from here on, I've decided you'll live in the barn.
What? You can't do this. Dora and me can't live in the...
I didn't say Dora. I said you.
Me in the barn. And Dora here?
That's right.
Dora alone in this house with you? Never.
Now, you listen to me.
Never. You think I don't know what you're up to? Dora's told me everything. How you've been after her, forcing yourself on her. And if you think if you're alone in the house with her alone at night, you can get what you're after, never.
Oh, yes. You fool. Don't you think I planned this from the beginning? From the day I got your sniveling letter begging me to take you in. And the day I laid eyes on her for the first time, I knew then that it was a good plan, and I'd go through with it.
You...
A simple plan, too. So simple it couldn't go wrong. Starve you, weaken you, work you into your grave.
The way you worked Ruthie into hers...
No, the child didn't matter one way or the other. It was you.
It didn't matter.
What?
My little girl, my Ruthie, didn't matter.
What? Here now. Wait a minute, child. You choking me. You can't.
There's something. The clock. Stopped. Strange. Why so suddenly stopped? His heart. He said it was like the beating of his heart. It stopped. Would that mean... on the floor. Jonas, on the floor. Oh, my God. Oh. Yes. Oh. Yes. I killed him. Oh, God, I killed him. killed him. Oh. I am a murderer. I realized that I must do something to hide the body. But what? What? Where to hide it? If I tried to get out of the house into the barn, Dora might see me doing it. A chance I couldn't take. If I dragged it down the cellar, there was the risk she'd hear me. Where could I hide? And then my eyes, as they had so often done before, my eyes went to the clock. The clock that had stopped the very instant his heart stopped. A big clock, 6 feet tall and 2 feet wide. Was it possible that I might... If I could stand him up in that space, the clock hiding him, for a time, only for a time, to let me think what I might do afterwards. Yes, that is what I did. And just in time, I just stood his body against the wall and pushed the clock back into place, hiding it when...
Yes?
Mrs. Daring, of course?
Yes.
I'm Game Warden Carrington. I'd like to talk to your husband.
Oh, well, he's with his uncle just now. Could you wait?
Well, I'm afraid not. I want to get back to Pomfret before nightfall.
Uh-huh. Is it important?
It is to your husband.
Well, Uncle Jonas gets angry when... Well, follow me.
Thank you.
What is it?
I'm sorry to interrupt. The game warden's here. He says he's got to see Charles. Got to see him right away.
Oh. Hello, Warden.
See about that carburetor, Daring.
Oh?
Look, I don't like talking to you. You peering through a door open to crack. Could I come in?
No. Uncle Jonas doesn't allow anyone...
No, that's all right. Come in.
Where's Uncle Jonas?
He went down to the barn. Be back in a little while.
Oh. Well, I'll leave you and the warden together.
Sit down, Warden.
Oh, no. This'll just take a minute, and I'm in a hurry. I got to thinking about that carburetor.
Carburetor. Yes. Carburetor.
There's a good mechanic in Pomfret, Hutchinson. He could maybe rebuild it for you, save you some money.
Oh. Well...
you all right, Daring?
Yes, only...
Well, what is it? Why do you keep looking at that clock?
It isn't going.
Of course it isn't. Well, you can see that. The pendulum has stopped.
Yes, and yet... about the carburetor...
Well, I was going to suggest... But I want your permission first. Suggest I take the carburetor out of the car on my way back to Pomfret, you know?
Yes, do that.
Well, the trouble is, I haven't got the tools.
Tools?
Yes. Are you listening to me?
Yes, I'm listening.
I've got a couple of screwdrivers, but no wrench and no pliers, so I wondered if you might have what I need.
Yes,
Well, if you could let me have them, I'll stop by the car, get the carburetor out, and take it to Hutchinson and Pomfret. He'll have plenty of time to work on it, because I won't be coming back this way for another... Daring, what is it?
You think you're clever, don't you, Warden?
Well, that's a funny thing to say. Nothing clever about taking a carburetor out of the car.
I don't mean that. You know I don't mean that.
Well, what do you mean?
The sound. You hear it as well as I do. You hear it.
What are you talking about?
The heartbeat. His heartbeat. It has to be that. The clock has stopped. Look. The clock has stopped, but the beat, the beat. You hear it.
I don't hear anything.
Liar. How could you not hear it? You didn't come about the carburetor. You know I was going to do it. You saw it on my face when we talked out there today. You must have seen it. In my face. Even though I didn't know it.
Well, no, what? Daring, have you gone mad? Saw what in your face? You were going to do what?
Kill him. Kill him! Kill him!
Hey! What are you doing? Why are you pulling the clock away from that? Hey, look out! It's falling!
See?
Oh, good Lord. Good Lord.
Charles, dear?
You've come, Dora. Sit down, dearest, and give me a moment. I just want to adjust the escape mechanism on this clock. There.
All fixed?
All fixed. And they said it couldn't be done.
If it can be done, you're the man to do it. Dr. Leonardo says you're a genius when it comes to fixing clocks. Goodness, you fixed just about every one in this whole...
In the asylum. I know what it is, Dora, dear. I just don't know why I'm here.
No matter, sweetheart. So long as you're happy.
Oh, very, very. And you?
I'm fine.
And Ruthie? Little Ruthie. How's she?
She couldn't be better, Charles. She sends her love.
Give mine to her. Oh, dear.
What, Charles?
This escape mechanism. Still not working the way it should. If you'll excuse me, Dora.
In a little room in a large institution, a very gentle, a very sweet old man tinkers happily with clocks and watches. And an old lady, a very old but very attractive old lady, visits him weekly. He lives in another world, she in this. Small matter. Both are happy. I'll be back shortly. Well, to come full circle, you, sir, became Charles Daring. And you, ma'am, or would you prefer Ms., became Dora. And as I pointed out earlier, you couldn't have done it without that miracle imagination. Think. How completely did you become Charles, Dora? Did you become them? Or did you only listen? With your ears, listen. If that is so, try again. Ears are not enough. Try using your soul. Our cast included Fred Gwynne, Ann Shepard, and Robert Dryden. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
I can't seem to get up from the chair. What's happened to me?
I've drugged you, that's what's happened.
Drugged me?
To make killing you, murdering you, easier.
Murder?
You stupid, ugly little fool. You really believed me when I said I found you not unattractive. That I'd be delighted to escort you to the carnival.
What? Arno, what are you saying?
I'm saying that I'm going to do the same with you that I did with Margarita. Wall you up in the catacombs below.
You killed her? Then walled her up?
Oh, no. She was alive when I did it. At least she was when I put the last stone in place. But she didn't last long after that, I'm sure. It couldn't have been more than an hour or so before she suffocated to death.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. many times I hear that sound, it still sends a chill down my spine. You know it's a police car or ambulance on the way to or from an emergency in which someone is badly hurt. At Mercy Hospital, not everyone arrives with the shriek of a siren. Most arrive quietly with the help of a relative or friend. Some come alone, hoping against hope that the grasping pain around the heart is only indigestion. A few come under their own power, sheer willpower that keeps them conscious against all of the body's desire to give up, but hoping, as we always hope, that the bell has not yet tolled for us.
Hear that, Chief?
What does it mean?
Siren. Oh, I hope it isn't one of our ambulances.
Well, 10 to 1 it is. It was one of those nights on emergency when... Help. All right, Toby, give me a hand.
Yeah.
Orderly, get that rolling cart.
Oh, he's heavy.
He's just about unconscious. Where are you hurt, sir? Stomach. All right, orderly. Take him from Dr. Grant and let's get him on the cart. Easy now. On his back. Gently.
Oh. What is it, Dr. Peterson? Appendix?
You won't ask me that now. I've opened his jacket. Look at that blood on his shirt.
What is it, then?
Get me some swabs. This man's been shot.
Our mystery drama, The Witness, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Joan Shea and Ken Harvey. It is sponsored in part by Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule, and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
You've seen the Budweiser commercials on television, and maybe you've wondered how long people have been putting that famous Bud label on things. Well, not as long as the brewers of Bud have been putting things on the label. Things like a list of Bud's most important ingredients. Quote, brewed by our original process from the choicest hops, rice, and best barley malt. And things like the following statement. This is the famous Budweiser beer. We know of no brand produced by any other brewer which costs so much to brew and age. Our exclusive Beechwood aging produces a taste, a smoothness, and a drinkability you will find in no other beer at any price. Unquote. Yes, brewing beer right does make a difference. Read the Bud label. Taste the king of beers, and you'll agree, when you say Budweiser, you've said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis. Save a little and save a lot more at the Northwest Federal General Store. That's where you'll find a giant Cracker Barrel of gifts. Gifts for savers by famous makers we all know. The Sunbeam hand mixer, the Schick style dryer, a Presto pressure cooker and Waring blender. And they're all free or priced for special savings when you save $250 or more. See them all in our newspaper ads. And now you can save at 3 centers of interest in the Great Northwest Territory, on Irving Park Road, on Dempster Street in Des Plaines, and now in Norridge in the Harlem Irving Plaza. So save where you get the highest interest rates allowed by law, and get free gifts, too, from the Cracker Barrel of gifts now at Northwest Federal Savings. But come in soon. Some styles and colors are limited. 1 gift per family, please. Offer good for a limited time only. Remember,
it's Northwest Federal Savings Time, 63 hours a week.
A man has been shot. How? Why? Who is he? By whom was he shot? A jealous husband? A jealous wife? In anger or cold-bloodedly? Sheer accident? Or with malice aforethought? All these questions must wait as Dr. Brian Peterson works quickly and deftly, knowing this man is on the borderline between life and death, and trying to find out who he is.
Can you, Can you give us your name, sir?
I don't know.
You don't know your name?
No. Who shot?
Rip open the rest of his shirt and get your stethoscope on his heart.
Yes.
We see how he's doing.
Will do.
Sir, can you hear me?
No.
Dad wasn't shot all that recently. He must have hemorrhaged internally like mad. Orderly, you and the nurse take him straight to emergency. Alert Dr. Aiello. We're going to need anesthesia.
He doesn't look like the kind of man to get mixed up in a shooting.
Looks can be deceiving, as you'll find out. MS intern.
Is he going to die?
Not as long as he's breathing. Nurse, get me some gloves. I want a good look at that bullet wound. Swab out the area again, Doctor. See the wound?
Yes. It's small.
Definitely point of entry. Just one shot.
That's all I see.
All right, thank you, miss. Get me a probe and some retractors. Thank you. Now, let's have a better look. It was no toy bullet. Heavy .38 could be a police special. And the bullet's still inside. All right, get us an emergency OR, Doctor. We're going to have to go in.
Doctor, should you risk operating without a release? I mean, who knows who this man is?
Oh, we have information. We know he's white, male, and from his hands, I'd say some kind of workman. The police will have to take it from there.
Murder. Someone tried murder.
All right, sir. We are doctors. You're in a hospital, and you're safe now. What's your name?
Name. No. I don't remember. I don't remember nothing except tried murder.
Okay, Tovey. Go call the police. Then come up to OR. You can scrub and assist me on this one.
Any change?
Well, he's holding on. You got the police?
Yes, they're on their way. They have an idea who our mystery patient might be.
Have they? Well, the sooner we get that bullet out of his insides, the happier I'll be. It's behind his spleen, resting on the spine. You say the police think they know who he is?
Yes, a man named Roy Richardson. That name mean anything to you?
Of course. Don't you dames ever read the papers?
Of course not, Doctor. We're always too busy curling our hair or recoloring our nails.
Oh, don't get your back up.
Well, then stop looking down your nose. I happen to have been on duty 60 hours out of the last 72. No, I haven't read the papers. Who is Roy Richardson?
You know who Augie Larch is.
Well, he'd be a little hard to miss. Our big-time racketeer who got nailed on income tax evasion and is about to go on trial?
Yep, you know why.
Oh, because someone in his organization was willing to turn state's evidence in order to... Roy Richardson. That's the guy's name.
Yeah.
He's a witness.
If we can bring him through.
Yeah?
Augie?
Who's this?
Johnny A. Johnny Angel.
Where are you?
The hospital. You know that. You dropped me after we fought.
Okay. I just had to be sure. Your phone safe?
Yeah. It's a public phone right here.
When you hold a big yap, just give me the number. I'll call you back on a safe phone.
Suction. Cut off that bleeder, Toby.
Retractor. Clamp. Tied off, Dr. Peterson.
Yeah, that's a little better. Now we can see what... Oh, there's the trouble. It's a big slug with lots of velocity. Must have bounced around plenty. Bullet forceps, nurse. There's the baby. Yeah, 38, all right. Soft-nosed. Just hope we don't have too many intestinal perforations. Hold on to that, nurse. Please hold on to it.
I don't see any damage to the vital organs.
Mr. Richardson is still going to be lucky to pull out of this one. And even if he does, to stay alive. One way or another. Mercy Hospital?
It's okay, Augie. It's me. It's Johnny A.
Okay. What's the scoop?
They're operating on him now.
Yeah, did he talk?
I don't think so. He barely made it in the door. I saw the lock but couldn't get to him in time.
Is he gonna make it?
I got no way of knowing.
You better make sure he don't.
Augie, what can I do here in the hospital?
You better figure that luck never comes true. He can nail me, and I don't intend to be nailed. But if I should be, you better know you're deep-sixed.
But Augie...
Don't talk. Move. I'm going to give you a safe number you can contact me through. And if you need Gus, I'll send them to you. If that Fink's mouth has got to be shut, let Gus handle it. That dummy is expendable. Only you back him up and make sure. Come in.
Dr. Peterson?
Oh, yes.
Detective Sergeant Sam Marshall.
Oh, how are you, Detective? I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, but I just got down from the operating room.
How's your patient?
Good constitution. He came through a very tough operation very well.
He's going to live then?
Well, I can't tell you that. The next 24 hours will tell.
I understand he was in no condition to talk when he got here.
That's right.
Or give his name?
That's right. Just something about murder. But I had a notion from Dr. Grant, who reported the bullet one, that you had a pretty fair idea who he was.
Well, we know that a witness in a trial due to start next week against Augie Larch disappeared last night, or at least somewhere between midnight and 8 this morning.
Roy Richardson.
Yeah. We've been keeping his picture out of the papers to protect him.
It looks as if you didn't do a very good job of that, Sergeant.
Richardson was the one who ducked us. Is this the man you operated on, Dr. Peterson?
Well, no. No, I've never seen this man before in my life.
That's the way a cop's life goes, Doc. No, I've got to open a new file. Who the devil is your John Doe?
We found no identification on him. Looks like that's your problem, unless...
Unless what?
Well, unless... I guess everyone can't resist trying to play cop, Sergeant, but when this man got to the hospital, he'd been carrying that slug in him for some time.
Huh?
I don't see how he could have made it on his feet for so long unless... Uh-oh.
What is it?
Look down there. There's a parking lot for the hospital.
Huh?
See that car down there?
Huh?
Next to my red convertible? Is that yours?
No. I hope I can do a better job of parking than that. Anyway, isn't that space reserved for doctors?
Yes, but it's also right near the emergency entrance. Come on, Sergeant. Maybe we can find out the easy way who Mr. Roy Richardson isn't and just how he's mixed up in this. There's blood all over the seat.
Don't touch the wheel, Doctor.
You find anything?
Registration for the car. Joseph C. Wilson, 1440 Forville Avenue. Height 5'11", 1/2. Weight 170. Eyes blue gray. Hair light brown. Age 36. Sound familiar?
Yes, that could be the man I operated on. Description fits.
Apex Insurance. In case of accident, notify Mrs. Joseph Wilson. Let's go do that little thing, Doctor.
You know this Wilson? I mean, was he another witness?
Never heard of him. But I'd give a lot for a few words with him. Richardson is still missing, and my hunch is any deal he thought he could make with Augie Larch was one way. The odds are that Richardson is already at the bottom of some convenient lake. The big question is, did they intend to dump Mr. Wilson there, too? Or was he one of them and something went wrong? Either way, you've got to help me get something out of the guy. We had Augie Larch just where we wanted him. And I don't want to see him get off the hook.
All they that take the sword shall perish by the sword. Is Joe Wilson's fate just retribution? Or is he an innocent victim? Is he another unfortunate possessor of information about the illegal operations of a ruthless criminal? Or is he something else entirely? Someone with no contact at all with Augie Larch, and yet who is infinitely more dangerous to him. I'll return shortly with Act 2.
Give your hand to a friend. Give your heart to your love. But give your cold to contact. The sooner the better.
6 or 3 or what?
Please don't give me problems. I'm catching a common cold. Sneezing, drips, congestion.
For those symptoms, you'd need 6 cold tablets, 2 every 4 hours, or 3 ounces of Cold's liquid, 1 every 4 hours, or just 1 contact.
I know, the tiny time pills.
Right. Both the others have things for aches and fever, and the liquid, something for coughs, not found in contact. Your cold, your choice.
Sneezing, drips, congestion. I'll take the contact.
Give your cold to contact. The sooner the better.
6 or 3 or 1. Take contact. Only as directed.
The Marine Corps Reserves are looking for a few good men to help keep the peace. We're looking for men who understand that nobody likes to fight, but somebody has to know how. We want men who want to see their children grow up in an age of peace. Men who will do more than wish for it. Men who will work for it. Men who don't need the draft to know there's a job to be done. Men who ask themselves what they can do for their country and do it. We're looking for a few good men to stand with the Marine Corps Reserve. No shortcuts, no compromises, no promises except one. You'll be a Marine, and you'll be ready. That's the job of a peacekeeper. At the hospital, in the intensive care unit, lies the man for whom we seem to have found a name. But while the doctors monitor and fight to save the patient's life, Detective Sergeant Sam Marshall doggedly follows his job of finding out if he really is Joseph C. Wilson. And if he is, who he is, what he is, and what led him to being the target of a perhaps lethal bullet. As soon as the necessary police machinery has been set in motion, he goes personally to interview Joe's wife, Helen.
And I was frantic. I was just going to call you. The police, I mean. Now you tell me this. How could anyone ever shoot my Joe?
Well, the point is somebody did, Mrs. Wilson. Now, I've seen a picture of him. There's no doubt it's your husband.
But why? Joe didn't have any enemies. Not that kind, anyway.
What does your husband do for a living?
He's a plumber.
Does he have a partner? Work for a firm?
No, he's just in business for himself.
Does he stay out much nights?
Oh, not Joe. Outside of his work, the kids and me are his whole life.
How many children do you have?
2. Mm-hmm. Ronnie, he's 8, and the baby, Sue Carol, she's 3.
How come he went out last night?
Well, it was an emergency call.
Know from whom?
Oh, yes. The Bensons, up on Long Ridge Road. They're old customers and kind of friends, so that's why he went out so late.
Would there be any reason for him to come back by the old high road?
Yes. Yes, he's stubborn about some things. It's a shortcut, but...
But what?
I've asked him not to use it. There are so many blind curves, and it twists, and it's narrow, and it's all full of potholes, and... Well, nobody uses it much since it's so deserted, and since you... If you do meet someone coming the other way, it's so easy to have an accident. I was always afraid, and now he's had one. Please, I want want to go to my husband. I want to talk to him.
Morning, Mr. Wilson. I'm Dr. Peterson.
How am I doing, Doc?
Thanks to a good, strong constitution, fine. You got any pain?
Some. Helen. Does Helen know about me?
Yes.
What happened?
Oh, just that you were shot. That's all any of us knows yet. There is a detective of police down in my office who would like to...
No. I want to see my wife first.
Yes, she's right outside. Nurse, you can get Mrs. Wilson and bring her in.
Doc.
Yes?
Could I see her alone for a minute?
Well, if you promise not to overexcite yourself. I don't want to scare you, but you're a long way from being out of the woods yet.
I promise.
Joe, darling.
Helen, baby.
You all right, honey?
Oh, me. I can eat anything, even a lead slug.
Well, I'll give you two a moment alone. Come on, nurse.
Joe, what happened?
They gone.
They just stepped outside the door. What are you mixed up in?
I'm not mixed up in anything. Why are you so scared?
You got shot, didn't you? I want to know why.
I can tell you, but I'm not so sure about... Oh, why did I take that shortcut after all the times you asked me not to? Helen, I think I saw a guy murdered.
And I don't want to start throwing any weight around, Doctor, but if there's any possibility your patient in there may die, I need a statement and some information from him.
I don't know if I can permit that, Sergeant.
His wife was allowed to see him this morning.
Only for a little while, and only if she didn't allow him to get overexcited.
I promised to take it easy. It's just... Well, Roy Richardson is still missing. Without him, we have no case against Augie Larch.
Very well, then. But a few minutes. And I'm going to be in there to make sure you don't upset him.
Be my guest. Why should I upset him if he's got nothing to hide?
This is Detective Sergeant Marshall, Joe. He wants to ask you a few questions.
I'll do, Sergeant.
Feeling better?
Well, kind of weak, like... Go ahead.
You're a plumber, Mr. Wilson, huh?
Yep.
And last night you were called on an emergency job late after dinner.
That's right, the Bensons. Good customers, good friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
They sprung the leak in the main water valve coming under the house. I had quite a time of it before I could get a new washer in there.
And afterwards, you came home by the old high road?
That's right. Saves about 3 miles over going around a new road.
At what time was this, Mr. Wilson?
Oh, 11, maybe 11:45.
And what time did you leave to go to the Bensons?
Around 7:30. Got there maybe about 8.
Mm-hmm. 3 hours to put in a washer?
Well, like I say, I had a tough time of it. And the Bensons are old friends. I stuck around talking, had a beer or so.
And it was coming back on the old high road you were shot?
That's right.
How?
Well, see, I was coming around a sharp bend where the road kind of dips down in a hollow.
Uh-huh.
And I hear what sounds like a blowout. So I hit the brakes, slow down as I come around the bend, and I see in my headlights this car parked off the road by the lake, facing me with the headlights off.
The car was off the road?
Well, half on the shoulder. And right beside it, there was 2 other guys lifting someone like he was hurt. I stopped, and I got out, and I yelled, "Could I help?" And before I knew it, one of them pulled a gun and took a shot at me.
And hit you?
That's why I'm here.
What did you do then?
What would you do? I dived from my car. Thank God I left the engine running, and I took off right past him like a hound dog with a bee up his tail.
They shoot at you again?
Sergeant, I don't know. All I knew was I was hurt and heading for the hospital. Another thing to thank God for. They hadn't pulled off the road. I'd never got past them.
You know Roy Richardson, Mr. Wilson?
Name's familiar, but...
You ever hear of Augie Larch?
Oh, you mean the gangster, the mob guy?
Now, you tell me. Was he one of the men you saw murder Roy Richardson?
Oh, I don't know for sure who was murdered, or even if it was.
Oh, you must have seen these men in your headlights. Could you identify any of them for us?
Oh, I don't know. If
you'd be willing to try, huh?
Well, I guess. Sure. I mean...
All right, Sergeant, I'm sorry, but I'll have to stop you. That's quite enough for now.
Okay, you're the doctor. But I'm going to have to talk to him again.
Just so long as it won't endanger his life.
Oh, don't worry about that. His life is just as important to me as it is to you, Doctor. But from here on in, I'm going to do everything I can to protect it.
I haven't told the kids about you yet, Joe. Because all day I've been doing a lot of thinking.
What kind of thinking, Helen?
You got yourself mixed up with some real bad, no-good trash.
Don't you think I know that, Helen? They left me with a big enough message to remind me.
There are messages from the other side, too. You know, there's a policeman on guard outside your door.
Why?
Joe, darling, those men, or the one who shot you and the other one, could you recognize them if you saw them again?
I'm still mixed up. Like sometimes I tell myself, I'm not 100% sure I could. And then I shut my eyes. And I know I could pick them out in a jam-packed ballpark. But if I really had to tell the truth, I think maybe the reason is I'm just plain scared.
Oh, Joe, darling, don't you see that's just the way I feel? I don't want you to identify those men, even if you could. They've done enough to you already. I don't want you to take any chances they'll do any more.
Still, Helen, I gotta do what's right.
Why? You didn't ask to get tangled up in this filth and crime? You want all of us to creep around scared to death from here on in if you identify these men? Ronnie? Sue Carroll? Me?
But
look at what happened to you already.
But, Helen, it's like I'm a citizen. If I've got rights, I got duties, too.
Joe, promise me you'll stay out of it. That's the only way all of us can be sure we'll be safe. Especially you.
You're sure, Sergeant Marshall?
Positive identification, Doctor. He hadn't been in the water that long. After talking to Mr. Wilson, we located the spot where the shooting took place. We had a crew with us, and they brought up Richardson the third time down. Bullet through his head.
So there goes your witness on the evasion of taxes trial.
Small potatoes. Now we can get him on a bigger rap.
Murder?
If your patient, Mr. Wilson, comes through. Can I see him now?
I'm sorry to have to break in on your visit, Mrs. Wilson, but Sergeant Grant has to talk to your husband.
More questions, and not so much this time. I had a copy of the transcript you made to me this morning typed up. I'd like to get it signed.
I'm not going to look at your pictures.
Why not?
For the same reason I won't sign this statement. I can't identify the men.
You indicated you might.
Well, I'm not sure anymore.
He'd be in terrible danger if he could.
Mrs. Wilson, every precaution is being taken for your husband's safety. You saw the police guard outside the door.
What about my wife and children?
I'm trying to cover your house, too.
With killers like these, that's no protection.
What else can I do?
Could I come up with an idea?
And welcome.
Well, it's the neat old adage which solves all problems. Men tell no tales.
I don't understand.
Well, look, suppose everyone thought your husband had died from the bullet in him. What would those gunsels have to worry about then?
You release that story to the press, I'll substantiate it.
A big little white lie, Doctor?
Would you be willing to look at the pictures then, Mr. Wilson? And make an identification, if you find one? Or two? Helen?
Oh, Joe, I don't know what to say.
If everyone is willing to put themselves out like that, how can we let them down?
Morning, Joe. Well, how's it going today?
Well, I ain't ready to take on Muhammad Ali, but I'm getting there.
Well, this may give you a lift. The morning paper, page 1. Shooting victim succumbs. Joseph Wilson, age 37, died at Mercy Hospital last night as the result of a mysterious bullet wound inflicted while he was driving along the old high road. Wilson, a plumber by trade, leaves a wife, Helen, and 2 children, ages 8 and 3.
Let me see that.
Well, you have the right. Not many men get to see their own obituaries.
Sure gives a man a funny feeling.
I'll bet.
The victim's will said he will be buried in Clendon Cemetery. That policeman sure did it up thoroughly, didn't he?
Well, they could scarcely release a story that you died without being nice enough to bury you. At least now the killers are off your trail.
Hello, Augie? Johnny A. You seen the papers this morning? Good news, nothing. Forget it. I'm telling you, the guy ain't. About a half hour ago, I seen his wife sneak into the hospital. And just to make sure, I took a chance and went by his room at the hospital just a minute ago. There's still a cop outside the door. You don't need fuzz to guard man.
So, it appears that our innocent bystander is still in jeopardy. Has a brilliantly performed operation saved his life, only to have it threatened once again? I'll return shortly with the answer to that, and Act 3.
Inside you're free. Inside you're free after all. You hear freedom spirit like a wild bird call. Inside you're free. Inside you're free after all. Living free. Living free.
You feel like breaking loose, and so off you go in a Skyhawk. Buick's sleek, low-slung 2+2 road machine. Its streamlined nose thrust rakishly ahead. Its spirited V6 engine supplying the motion. All of a sudden, living free becomes second nature. Skyhawk. Catch one at your Buick dealer now.
Inside you're free. Inside you're free after all. Living free. Living free. Living free.
Hi, Mal Belair's here with an interesting fact about water, brought to you by your local Culligan man. Did you know that in the United States, there's almost 20 times as much water in the ground as there is water on the surface? For example, Florida alone has more underground water than all the water in the Great Lakes combined. And speaking of the Great Lakes, there's a popular misconception that Lake Michigan water is soft. However, according to a government study, to be classified as soft, water must contain less than 3.5 grains of hardness per gallon. And Lake Michigan water contains about 8 grains of hardness per gallon. So, call your local Culligan man. Ask him to show you the difference that hardness makes. Whether you have Lake Michigan water or other than Lake Michigan water, you'll be astounded. There's no cost or obligation, so call your Culligan man today. You'll find him underwater in the Yellow Pages.
This is WBBM Chicago.
News Radio 78. The time is 11:06. It's 10 above at Midway.
It was Robert Burns, the Scottish poet, who penned the lines, "The best laid schemes of mice and men gang after gley." Certainly all the plans to protect Joe Wilson by announcing his apparent death have been negated by his wife's thoughtless and untimely visit, and the fifth columnist in the hospital. Unfortunately, the doctors and the police are unaware of this. Still, what can men, even as desperate as Augie Larch, do to stop Joe from identifying them now?
It ain't good enough, Johnny.
But Augie, what else can I do?
I don't know. What a fool I was to be with you when we rubbed out Richardson. The way it was, we didn't have time to handle it any other way. All I know is this isn't just beating a little income tax evasion. My neck is on the line for the big M.
So's mine, Augie.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm counting on. I'm sending you Gus. Between yous, you better figure out some way to make that orbit come true.
Okay, boss. But don't you give Gus a gun. I'll handle that end if we need it.
Don't worry, it's muscle I'm sending you. I wouldn't trust him with a gun either. But don't forget, I don't care how you do it, but I want that witness.
Like I said, it's my neck on the line too, Augie. One way or another, that's just what he'll be before the day's out.
And Mrs. Wilson is up with him now, still?
I guess so. I've been on rounds.
After all our arrangements, why did you let her go up there?
She was already in the hospital and on his floor before I bumped into her by accident. I tried to argue her out of it, Doctor, but she insisted on seeing him.
Yes, and if those mobsters are having the hospital watched, the whole cover scheme may be out the window by now.
Well, even if he was, she had a right to come and make arrangements for his funeral.
Yes, I suppose. But when Sergeant Marshall turns up, he'll probably blow a gasket. But the damage, if any, is done already, so there's no use our getting excited about it. One thing we can do.
What?
Smuggle her out of here the best way possible without a chance of her being seen. Fourth floor nurse's desk. Well, this is Dr. Peterson. He is? Oh, yeah, well, would you tell him I'll be right down? That's the sergeant. He's downstairs. Now, look, Tully, I'll go down and delay him a little. We can't wait for dark. You go along to the room and get Mrs. Wilson out of there.
All right.
I don't care how you do it, but if possible, without being recognized.
Honey, I don't care how long you argue with me. You're not going to change my mind.
Joe, why should you risk your life?
Ellen, I know you love me. But you should have gone on out to Dayton with the kids like we planned. You took an awful chance coming here today when I'm supposed to...
I know. But I told you. I sent the kids off last night, and your mom and pa were going to meet them. I couldn't go, Joe. I laid awake all night worrying about the chance you're taking. And I had to come to ask you not to take it.
Baby, I'm a citizen. It's my duty.
I'm sorry to break in on you, but Sergeant Marshall is downstairs and on the way up. Mrs. Wilson, I think you'd better get out of here.
Helen, you listen to the doctor and me. You go. You let me do what I have to.
Joe.
If I'm going to live, I have to live with myself. And there's only one way I guess I can do that.
I'm not going to try to pretend I'm not sorry the wife came here, but there's no sense in worrying over spilt milk, Dr. Peterson. Sooner we get a positive identification on who murdered Roy Richardson, the sooner Joe Wilson will be out of danger. From outside threats, perhaps. The man is still fighting for his life from the damage that bullet did to him inside. So, take it as easy on him as you can. Cops are human, Doc. That's all right, officer. Just relax, but keep your wits about you. Can we go in, Doctor? Oh, sure. Well, afternoon, Mr. Wilson. This shouldn't hurt too much. I've brought some pictures, so it wouldn't be too heavy. I had the computer select them so you didn't have to wade through the whole mug file. For example, this here first one. Do you recognize him as one of the men you saw carrying Roy Richardson's body the night of the murder?
Well, why, that's, I've seen his picture in the newspapers.
Yeah, he's a prominent man. Was he one of them?
I like to get something straight first.
Ask.
If I identify the guys, what happens then?
Oh, we pick them up and arrest them.
And I'm out of it?
Well, not exactly.
Why not?
Because your statement would not be admissible in court unless you're there to be questioned not only by the state, but counsel for the defense. Due process of law.
I see.
Why do you ask? It's all right, I'll get that.
Because I'm afraid my wife will feel I sold her and the children down the river.
It's the other way. You're buying her, your children, and yourself freedom from fear.
I'm sorry, there's some flowers for Joe. Special receipt requested.
Flowers for a dead man, huh?
There's a card. Here.
You read it, Sergeant.
Joseph C. Wilson, room 412. Best wishes, Joe, from your watchful friends, both here and in Dayton.
That's right. Dayton. Where I sent my kids to be safe.
Oh, forget about this. Your wife shouldn't have come to see you this morning, but you'll be protected.
Yeah, we're going to be protected, Sergeant Marshall. You get your little pen and pencil out. I'm going to give you my final statement.
Now, wait a minute.
Not even a second. You start writing. It was too dark on the old high road for me to see a thing. I don't know what happened. I couldn't identify anyone in a million years. Just count me out as a witness.
Oh, Toby, you look bushed.
Tired enough to step out of channels and say to the chief of staff, so do you.
Well, it's an occupational hazard. Can't you take a break?
No, sir. I have emergency clinic from 8 to 12. How about you?
24 hours a day for me. Cheer up. The further you go, the worse it gets. Well, happy clinic.
Oh, it shouldn't be too bad. It's a Tuesday. Tuesdays always seem to be slow for some reason.
Well, then, let's hope it runs true to form.
Okay, Gus. Let's try to forget your belly and concentrate on what you need clinic service for, huh?
Oh, yeah, sure. I got a bum ache.
Yeah. Concentrate on your ankle.
Yeah.
It's sprained. It hurts like hell. Maybe it's even broken. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, it's dark enough. Let's go.
Next?
Hi, Doc. Not so busy tonight, huh?
Which makes doctors thankful for small mercies. Oh, I guess you are right. What's the matter with your friend?
Well, we was visiting a friend here in the hospital.
Yeah. And on the way out, I turned my ankle on a step coming down from the front door. Oh, the pain.
On the steps down, leaving the hospital? Well, let's have a look. Which ankle?
The right, Doctor.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see any evidence of...
Well, now we're all alone. Can you see this, Doctor?
A gun?
That's right.
Well, you must be paranoid. One shot in this whole hospital.
Wouldn't hear a thing. New silencer, see? Close the door, Gus.
Right.
What is it you want?
Get us in to see Joe Wilson. And get us out with him. You ought to be able to figure a way. But real quick.
Do you really think you can parade me through the hospital at the point of a gun? Even a silenced one?
No parade, Doc. Nobody's going to pay us any attention. You're already dressed the part. Gus on a rolling cart like this here. You get me a set of whites like an orderly. We're taking poor Gus and his badly sprained ankle to X-ray or wherever. Now let's stop stalling and get moving. Okay. Okay, Gus. You just lie down.
Yeah.
Now, Doc, you on the front end of the cart, and me pushing on the back. Only stay on the side, real close. Feel the gun.
What are you going to do with Mr. Wilson when you get there?
Get rid of him.
But I promise you, he hasn't identified anyone to the police.
He ain't gonna have the chance.
And what about me?
You're not so hot at guessing, are you, Doc?
Hi, Toby. I mean, Dr. Grant. What you got there?
Badly sprained ankle, Doctor. Maybe a break. Going to X-ray.
Why don't you let the orderly take him? Let's us have a cup of coffee.
I'm afraid I can't, Doctor. This is a little more serious than that. It looks like he has a rectus pylorum. And I'm afraid the constrictor pharyngus may be involved.
The constrictor
You know how dangerous that can be, Doctor. There may even be a break involved. I want to stop that if it's possible.
Okay, Doctor, that's your problem. You'll be able to handle it. I'll just go hit the hay for the night.
You do that, Doctor. I've got to get this man up to 4th floor X-ray for special pictures.
Oh, by the way, you better take the back elevator. The front one's out of whack again.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, didn't the orderly tell you?
But he's a new man, Doctor. We'll handle it.
Okay, it's your problem. I'm going home and forget the hospital exists.
Nice going, Miss Doc. You handle that real sensible. Now, how far to the other elevator?
Oh, not far. Just a few zigs and zags. It's in the old building. But what do you expect to do when you get there?
Just substitute our stretcher passenger for Joe Wilson. Gus has an orderly suit he can change to. Then we just wheel our patient back down and out of your life.
Out of mine?
It's like any professional job. You can't leave any loose ends. This the elevator?
Yes. I guess this is it.
Now, look. This is the last lap. So far, everything has gone pretty smooth. Let's keep it that way. Okay, Gus? You all dressed?
Yeah. These white things feel nice.
Fine. Just let's concentrate on trundling this cart past that cop with the doctor's help and pick up our boy. Now, when we get to the cop...
You already got to him, Johnny Angel. That's a police positive in your back. Just don't move. Or you, Gus. I got 3 guys covering you. Step aside, Dr. Grant.
Don't try it. Oh, damn. You shot me.
I warned you.
Okay. Oh, I guess you got me all the way. But Augie Larch ain't getting off scot-free.
Don't worry. Joe Wilson will be able to identify him now.
How come? You nailed me.
Oh, you shouldn't fool around with doctors, Johnny, eh? Male or female. You're just not smart enough.
What do you mean?
Well, you tell him, Doctor.
Well, Gus was supposed to have a sprained ankle. When Dr. Peterson asked me what was the matter with him, remember what I told him?
Some double talk.
I said he had an erectus pylorum.
Yeah, what's that mean?
It's a very small muscle at the base of the hair follicles.
You gave me the old double O.
Yeah, not the ankle. A muscle at the base of each hair in your head. It's enough to make your hair stand on end. Isn't it, Johnny Angel?
With the help of Joe Wilson's identification, Augie Larch and Johnny Angel were charged with criminal homicide and held without bail. Later, both were convicted and sentenced to maximum terms. Joe recovered successfully, and he and Helen subsequently had 2 more children. It's really another story with a happy ending, more or less, except for one thing. In the state where our story took place, murder in the 1st degree is, once again, the death penalty. I'll be back shortly.
Some people think we play ping pong all day. They're wrong. The USO isn't all fun and games. Today, the USO has millions of problems like this one in Germany.
My family's going crazy living in a tiny apartment. Where can we live?
Today's USO has millions of problems like this one in Asia.
I'm hooked on drugs. Where can I get help?
Or this problem in Athens.
Our marriage is breaking up. Can you help us?
Today's USO has little time for ping pong. We've got serious work to do. We've got lots of new problems here and overseas. The problems are big. How big? Well, if someone asks you, who needs the USO? Tell them, we do! We do! Over 5 million American military personnel and their families need today's USO. And because we get no government funds, we need all your support. Please give to USO through the United Way or local USO campaign.
The one thing that remained strongest in Joe Wilson's mind after the horror and pain of his experience had faded was the decision he had come to, finally, to make the identification. For whatever satisfaction the criminal's attempt to stop him may have given them on the way to the grave, for the rest of his life, Joe had a far better one. He could face himself every morning in the mirror and be sure, more than most of us, that he was a man, and a good one. Our cast included Joan Shea, Ken Harvey, Sam Gray, and Ian Martin. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
How did this happen? I mean, to your leg.
Well, he was chopping wood. His foot slipped and the axe caught him right at the ankle. It didn't seem like such a deep cut. He's had worse. So we bound it up and he went about his business for a couple of days and then the swelling started and then the fever set in. Oh, feel his forehead. He's burning up.
Where's the axe?
The axe?
The axe, the thing that caused the whole mess. Where is it?
Well, right there by the door.
Well, what are you going to do, Mr. Mather? You won't cut my leg off, will you?
Oh, of course I'm not going to cut off your leg. I'm going to punish this axe. I'm going to make it suffer. I'm going to torture it. I'm going to make it endure such pain.
But how?
How are you going to do that, Mr. Mather?
I'm going to crucify it.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
This is WBBM Chicago News Radio 78.